and there's a young woman who says that she was abducted in Nairobi and was dumped in Uganda. So she found herself in Uganda and has threatened and also promised never to return to Kenya. So that's a story that maybe you may want to check out. It's on the Daily Nation, the page 2 of the Daily Nation. Right, and now TVET is celebrating 100 years, yes, a whole century, and we will be having Victor coming to us live in a couple of hours' time as we also get into that celebration of TVET at 100. Now, today being a Tuesday, we will be having Entrepreneurship Tuesday, and I will be talking about the beauty industry. It is $1 million industry, and we'll be looking at it, the women in this industry of the beauty industry, and joining me will be one beauty guru by the name Edwina Achieng. You want to stay tuned for all those lined up conversations. Right now, I hand you over to the beautiful Ray Manyara. Ray, good morning.
Well, thank you very much for that compliment, Vivian there. Good morning once again. This is Good Morning Kenya. We have briefs in regard what has been happening in the last 12 hours, including an update on our ongoing Olympics. Remember, Kenya, KBC, your true sports partner, has a free-to-air rights for the Olympics. And some of the questions that you've been asking on our various platforms is, why aren't you getting the games on YouTube? Now, part of the deal includes that it can only be aired via KBC's channels and not on any other platform. In as much as we have a platform on YouTube, we are not currently able to stream those particular games, and that is part of the terms and conditions of having an opportunity to broadcast to you the Paris Olympics as they happen. And as such, you have noticed a disruption in our programming, especially where the evening news is concerned. But not to worry, we have various platforms, including our website, that is www.co.ke, available for your perusal, and also the breakfast show, where we bring you and keep you up to speed with what that is happening in across matters business, politics, regionally and internationally. And talking about that, let me begin off cuff, and this is a question that has been running and holding great debate across the country. Is government intending to sell the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport? Now, that is a story that has been running, especially on social media platforms, and we've seen a couple of leaders come out to just also question this. I would want to quote Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka, who's called on the government to come out clean and disclose to Kenyans details of the agreement it has with the Indian company Adani Commercial Limited regarding the leasing of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. This is captured on the second page of one of the dailies that we're going to be perusing in the course of this particular show. And on page 5, sponsored content, this is what the government has said in regard to that matter, and clearly undersigned there is none other than His Excellency Dr. Musalia Mudavadi there, who is a Prime Cabinet Secretary, and as it stands, he's in charge of the 21 cabinet offices that we have in the land. And it gives the reasons that have been proposed by the government and what it is looking to do under that particular public-private partnership is to improve efficiency at the JKIA as well as its expansion. The last line of this particular letter, which is Government of Kenya Status Report Paper and Assurance Statement on the Privately Initiated Proposal, PIP, for the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi, it is said, envisaged goal of upgrading and expanding JKIA is to transform into a modern, competitive, and efficient hub for air transport trade, fostering economic growth and solidifying Kenya's strategic position as a regional and continental leader, as well as a multilateral logistic and financial hub. We emphasize, and I'm quoting, quote unquote, what has been said in this particular daily, we emphasize that JKIA remains a strategic national asset and is not up for sale. What is your view? Get your copy of this particular daily. Have a look at it. It has already been uploaded also on our website. Get to the details. What do you think about that PIP that has set tongues wagging in regard to the expansion of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, which is one of our main entry points as a country. As you work on that, let's bring you up to speed what the outcomes of the President's Coastal Tour, where the government has set aside 400 million shillings for the implementation of electricity projects in Tana River County. Now, speaking during his tour of the county on Monday, President Ruto has revealed that the money will also fund the Galana Kulalu irrigation project. He reiterated his call to the nation to support his broad-based government approach that has seen the nomination of a new cabinet secretary from the opposition, that is the ODM party.
President William Ruto wrapped up his 4-day tour of the coastal region counties Monday in Tana River County with a bag of goodies for the residents. Speaking at Ngao Secondary School, the president unveiled a 400 million shillings electricity project in Tana River, which is aimed at connecting at least 6,000 new households in the county into the national power grid under the last mile connectivity project.
Leo nimekuja na mradi wa shilingi milioni 400 ya kuunganisha watu 6,000 wapya. Watu 6,000 wapya wataunganishwa katika huduma ya stima Tana River County mwaka huu.
He reassured the residents of the government's commitment to supply electricity to 14 schools in the area, as well as sufficiently fund the Bura and Delta irrigation schemes in order to boost food security.
Na tumeweka mradi mwingine wa shilingi milioni 300 kuunganisha shule 14 kwa huduma ya stima, shule ambazo hazina stima sasa. Na vile vile tusukume stima mpaka kule Galana Kulalu, tuhakikishe kwamba tunaitumia kuzalisha chakula.
While outlining plans for the construction of at least 3,000 affordable houses in Tana River, President Ruto urged Tana River residents to rally behind his plans to reconstitute a broad-based cabinet, noting that the move will spur economic prosperity to all Kenyans.
Na wauliza wana Tana River, mnakubaliana na mimi tuunganishe Kenya yote? Mnakubali tuwe na baraza la mawaziri yenye sura ya Wakenya wote na sehemu zote na pande zote na mirengo yote na Wakenya wote, ili tuwe na nguvu kwa sababu ya umoja wetu. Hebu wale wanasema umoja ni nguvu, tuungane jameni.
Earlier on Monday, the president visited Nyali constituency, Mombasa County, where he called for unity among leaders, urging them to focus on development to spur economic growth in the country.
Ndugu yangu Hassan Sarai, ndugu yangu mdogo Mohamed Ali, na waomba viongozi wa pande zote, upande wetu wa UDA, upande wa ODM, na waomba sasa tuwache ubabe chini, tuungane, tuweze kupeleka Mombasa, Pwani na Kenya mbele.
Joseph Ohungu for GMK News.
Now, still keeping up with matters politics is that the quest by Raila Odinga to succeed Musa Faki as the chairperson of the African Union has officially kicked off after Kenya submitted the documents required for the candidature of Raila Odinga to the African Union Commission chairmanship position. In a statement issued by Principal Secretary for the State Department of Foreign Affairs, Korir Songay, the government confirmed making the submissions on Monday at Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The papers were handed over to the Dean of the Eastern Region of the AU, Darmaj Bugsek, Ambassador of Mauritius. Now, the Supreme Council of Kenyan Muslims, that is SUPKEM, has officially distanced itself from a court case seeking a referendum to remove President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua from office. SUPKEM National Chairman Alhaji Hassan Ole Dado noted that the council was not consulted before being named as an interested party. And plans to request the court to remove it from the case. The case, which alleges constitutional violations, incompetence and lack of public trust, was filed by activist Cyprian Nyamwamu and 30
We wish to
others.
point out that the Constitution provides that for the society to To pursue such a court case, the issue must be tabled before the relevant organs of the council and a decision taken following appropriate processes. In present case, the relevant organ of the council was not consulted before the council was committed as an interested party. In this regard, we reiterate as follows, that the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims distances itself from the case filed by Nyamwamu and 13 others on grounds that we were not consulted and that SUPKEM is incapable of filing a response in its own name. 2, the leadership of SUPKEM will approach the Honorable Court seized on this matter to have SUPKEM discharged as an interested party. SUPKEM stands by its earlier position that following the historic protest by Gen Zs that pricked the conscience of our nation, the country needs to have a very serious conversation with itself in order to ensure that the genuine issues raised by Gen Zs are addressed comprehensively and with finality.
That is a developing story, including one conversation here that has been captured by the dailies that we're going to be sampling. Tight corner, and this is talks to, or rather refers to the Deputy President's fate that is hanging in the balance after a night meeting at the house of a senior government member discussed his impeachment on grounds of insubordination and pushing for tax rebellion. Big question is, what does the Constitution say about the impeachment of a Deputy President? Does it affect the presidency because the two were elected on, as a pair? What happened? Or rather, what happens as per the Constitution? We have 290 members of parliament in total, where we have around 47 women reps and 12 nominated members of parliament. If we were to go and have Parliament actually vote in an impeachment, what is the likely direction of the House that the House is likely to take? This is one of the stories that has been captured, and I'm sure you're going to get further details. Now, Kiharu Member of Parliament and National Assembly Budget and Appropriation Committee Chair Ndindi Nyoro has highlighted a substantial national commitment of 57 billion shillings for road infrastructure in the upcoming financial year. According to Nyoro, the investment aims to complete ongoing road projects across the country.
That will be going into our roads in the next financial year. We are mostly targeting roads that are ongoing. All the 57 billion will majorly be going into completion of ongoing roads across the country. And to cite some of them which are nearer home, there are roads called Mau Mau roads. And these are very long roads serving many counties, serving Kiambu County, Murang'a County, Nyeri, Nyandarua, and connecting these counties. We, among the 57 billion shillings, tumeweza kuweka kama bilioni 4 hivi, ambayo 4 to 5 billion, ambayo itakuja kuendeleza kazi ya kumalizia barabara za Mau Mau roads.
Na sasa kwa ile binu tulipewa ya fertilizer na tukapata mvua, Mungu ametubariki. Mnajua ya kwamba sasa from last season ya mahidi, last season tuliweza kuona ya kwamba over 200,000 more acres of land Wakenya walilima mahidi. Na hiyo harvest ya last year we got 18 million more bags of maize kuliko hapo mwaka wa awali.
To the corridors of justice, the High Court in Meru has directed the impeachment motion against Kawira Mwangaza be handled by the Njuri Ncheke Supreme Council of Ameru Elders. Justice Linus Kassan has further ordered Njuri Ncheke to submit their resolutions in court in 3 weeks' time. This is a lobby group. Linda Jamie has filed a petition at Kitale's High Court seeking orders for police officers to ensure peaceful marches to all state houses in Kenya today, that is the 30th of July 2024, as they deliver their petition.
Ameru's High Court has deferred the ruling on Governor Kawira Mwangaza's impeachment to 20th August. The move came as the trial judge gave room for alternative dispute resolution on the matter that will now be at the hands of Njuri Ncheke Supreme Council of Ameru Elders. Mwangaza had moved to the court last Wednesday seeking to obtain orders stopping the MCAs from proceeding with the fourth impeachment motion against her. And a human rights group, Operation Linda Jamii, has filed a petition under a certificate of urgency at Kitale's High Court, seeking to have police facilitate protesters in the expected peaceful procession to State House, Nairobi, and all state lodges on Tuesday, 30th July.
It is based on a colonial rule because before we are being colonized by colonial masters who are not our fellow citizens. So they needed to be highly protected because they were not our fellow people. But now we have a fellow Kenyan, elected by Kenyans, sitting in State House that do not want people to go and see them. Kenya also has subscribed what we call open door policy. You know, open door policy simply means that someone can go State House and take a petition.
According to Professor Fred Ogola from Linda Jamii, the procession will be conducted at state lodges in Mombasa, Kisumu, Sagana, Nyeri, Eldoret, Nakuru, Kakamega, and Kitale.
Because Kenyans have the right to put their petition in public institutions, State House is so key that it cannot be ignored in taking petitions there. If you go to Washington in White House people have ever done protests outside the White House. So for us, we just wanted to go within the proximity of the gates so that we come there, the policeman will be there, then we can give our petition to the president and or any other State House officer who will be ready to receive our petition. That's all.
Elsewhere, former Isiolo South legislator Abdi Tepo has pleaded not guilty to 5 criminal charges, ranging from possessing fake USD currencies to having an unregistered firearm. The prosecution told the court that he was found with 300 pieces of papers allegedly resembling special papers used in making euro currency notes.
Issues which our client can also regularize because he is a licensed firearm holder, only that his license had expired.
Milimani's Chief Magistrate Bernardo Choi released him on a bond of 300 million shillings.
The accused will be supplied with copies of witness statements, charge sheet, and any other documentary evidence to be relied on by the prosecution. And the matter to be mentioned for free trial on 12th August.
Ruth Wamboi for Good Morning Kenya.
From the courts, the China Media Group has pledged to work with local mainstream media and academia to enhance skills in sharing and cooperation for the mutual benefit between African countries and China. Speaking in Nairobi during a media workshop, the General Director of Asian and African Language Program Center in Xianhu said broadcasting common understanding between Africa and China will strengthen economic integration and mutual trust and expand strategic cooperation. The workshop comes ahead of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation set to be held in September in Beijing.
That better understanding is one of the key pillars of the China New Reform Agenda. And we believe that when people understand each other better, there'll be more integration in various sectors of our collaboration. Together we can and we will do more. Long live this collaboration.
I think this is really the gap that is there, that's existing. We don't have a lot of information about China. And the Chinese people don't have a lot of information about Africa. And for the two civilizations to work together, we need to know each other better.
This pronouncement by the Chinese government, the CPC party, on deepening reforms and or accelerating the reforms, we expect that new opportunities will arise for our people to be able to benefit in terms of job opportunities. You know, we have a big population of young people. We have a big population of young people, and we must deliberately work toward opening opportunities for them.
这个民众他们想 知道中国的信。
And it's the same, vice versa. When Kenyan people want to know more about China and they search online, maybe the majority of the results are stories, are reports from Western media. And frankly, many of those reports are full of discriminations and with misconception. So I think it would be better for the people-to-people exchanges if we can have a platform of direct information exchange and sharing to enhance the understanding between the two peoples.
Well, that effectively puts matters in the headlines on Good Morning Kenya this morning at a halt. Be sure to peruse our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke, for further details. Some of the developing stories are around the petition that is going to be handed to various offices across the country there by those who are lobby group under Linda Jamii. We are going to be keeping tabs on that, as well as developments in regarding the proposed PIP, that is expansion and leasing of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport there by an Indian company there that has set the tongues wagging there. Details have also the Prime Cabinet Secretary this morning has printed out to the public on various dailies the content, some of the contents of that PIP, to just quell conversation around government's plan to actually sell JKI, our main point of entry across the country. Also, something else we're going to be keeping tabs on is that Senator Okiya Mtata has appealed to the police there to give a comprehensive status report on how police activities were arranged and executed during the anti-government protests, citing that there are around 64 people who've already been confirmed dead and have sporting bullet wounds. 14 bodies are still lying uncollected and unidentified at various city mortuaries there. So those are the stories we're going to be following up on as they develop, including what is happening in business and sports. Just to remind you that tonight, the 9 p.m. bulletin is going to be preempted by none other than the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. So do keep it right here. I hand you over to my colleague Mike and Vivian as they take you through the rest of programming. I'm Regina Manyara. Have a pleasant Tuesday ahead.
I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
One more, me brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth way the vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
Alafu kila Tuesday, kata simu tupo side, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She say she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday. With me, DJ_Liza Diva.
DJ Cold.
And me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
Unanifanya nisikie kunyongwa. Hadija ai, mani especially ukisonga.
Mimi ni Alexang, coach ya middle distance. Tunaenda pale Paris. Nawatakia wa Kenya mutuone na mutushangilie, mutuombe. Tunatarajia kwamba tutapata ushindi.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Megu and this is People and Politics. And today we take a little bit of a deviation, talk about policy briefs that address issues of concerns to citizens. These are some things that of concerns. One of them is the high cost of living, cases of unemployment, how to enhance the economy. Those are the issues of concern that even citizens are engaged in and want to know more about how the government is doing or how the political parties help in all this. So in studio, I'm speaking to Honorable Maina Karobia, who is a UDA-nominated MP to the East African Legislative Assembly. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much. And it is elected, not nominated.
Oh, okay, elected.
We are elected by the senators and members of parliament.
Karibu sana.
Yeah, asante sana. It's good to be back.
Yes.
The last time I was here was 2 years ago.
Yes.
Exactly 2 years ago.
Yes.
When we were tussling between here and also attending the bombers.
Yes.
Activities of Tallinn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great pleasure.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
And also in studio, I'm joined by Honorable Dr. Agnes Zani, who is a former nominated senator by the ODM party. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
How are you doing this morning?
Fine, thank you. Happy to be here.
Have you ever
how
been
are
on,
you?
I'm good.
I've been here.
You've been on Good Morning Kenya, so I've not hosted you personally.
Probably.
Lakini karibu sana.
Thank you.
Let's get into it. And first of all, I would want to know from you, what does governance means to you as a leader? Let me start with you, with Mr. Maina Karobia.
Yeah, from where I sit, governance is all about accountability in distribution of resources and fairness in regards to who gets what, when, and how. But from a governance point of view, there must be the tenets of accountability, integrity, and transparency, and fairness. And also being answerable to the people who have given you the authority that you hold. So that's how I view governance. But I think for me governance is accountable politics. Because for ordinarily politics is you just conducting things how you feel fit. But the governance side of it, there must be some level of accountability, there must be some level of transparency and fairness in how you are leading the people and how you are being, how you are holding the authority that you have. Yeah, that's my view.
Mheshimiwa Zani, what does governance mean to you?
Governance means to me a way of running things. Probably most of the time it's used within the context of a country. And therefore you get terminologies like good governance, maybe not so good governance, if we want to say bad governance altogether. But it's a way of running things. And then this cuts across various sectors. It cuts across the economic sector, the social sector, the economic sector, how to coordinate the various ministries, how to run the agenda, how to ensure that goals that have been put forward are actually attained, how to be accountable, how to be transparent, how to let people know all the time what it is you're doing, how you're going about it, where you're very transparent, you're even sharing the challenges and indeed getting the inputs about how to counteract those challenges. So it's a way of taking the understanding that I am doing these things on behalf of somebody, and that's where the question of leadership comes in. So most of the time you'll hear leadership and governance always, being mentioned together because there's somebody who is the doer on behalf of. For example, in Kenya, we have the sovereignty of the people empowered on the leaders, but you're governing on behalf of the people, and therefore you're taking this agenda for the people, you're understanding this agenda, you're bringing in key components and experts to really get to where you need to get to. So most of the time, many countries will have their own goals, either to improve on their GDP, to get into their social and economic goals that they have put, to follow through the Constitution. For example, we have the Constitution 2010, which has been an anchor for this country in terms of how to progress. So you're looking at all these variant processes and identifying how well are we doing? Are we attaining the goals? What are the challenges? Are we facing the challenges? Are we getting options for challenges? And governance is always a continuous process because change is dynamic. Yes. There's never stability. So every time there's change, new ways of doing things, innovation, best practices, looking at what other countries are doing, comparing with other countries. For example, the Singapore idea has always been with us, you know, because we attained our independence more or less at the same time. So we're looking at comparisons. We're looking at China. How are they doing? How are they governing? What is the best practice? What should we incorporate? So it's a broad terminology, but it's about how you run in the country.
Yes. Absolutely. Now let's get into the aspect of policy briefs that are addressing issues of concerns to citizens. Mheshimiwa Maina, what are these briefs?
From where I sit, let me say, the Kenya Kwanza administration was elected on our campaign promise on the bottom-up transformation agenda, which is synonymous called Better. Yes. And among the pillars that inform the bottom-up transformation agenda is on the issues of affordable housing, the digital superhighway, the agriculture, the SMEs, and that is and so many other things around the 5 pillars. And those pillars inform the various budgets, the financial budgets that we have in our country. They inform the decisions that we make as a nation. They inform the relationship that the government of Kenya build with other nations and other states. They inform every law that is proposed by the government or by the cabinet secretaries in the Parliament of Kenya. So those pillars that inform the bottom-up transformation agenda now develop the policy that we develop as a government, or we formulate as part of fulfilling the mandate that we are given by the people of Kenya. So for me, the policy brief is around the bottom-up transformation agenda, the better. Yes. Otherwise, if the policy beliefs are not around what was voted in by Kenyans, then we will be moving out of the confidence that the people had in this government when they were electing it in August 2022. We have to understand that each and every leader, anywhere, whether it is in politics, whether it is in the religious circles, whether it is in the academia, they always act on the promises that they were elected on. You cannot move out of that promise because you now be fulfilling another person's mandate. So that's why I talked about the 5 pillars upon which Kenyans displayed their confidence by voting this government in. And that's why the president is so keen in ensuring that in 2027 he'll be presenting a scorecard to the people of Kenya on what he has been able to fulfill the last 5 years. Yeah.
Mheshimiwa Zani, do political parties that are there live to the expectations that were given on their manifestos?
You've asked a very important question because all through it's very important to remain connected with the issues that you had in the manifestos because these are promises you have made. These promises are pre and post-election. And if you look at many of the manifestos, I am from ODM and in the Azimio coalition, these manifestos over time change but are not very variant. If you look at all manifestos across the form, they will be looking at economic problems, social problems and political problems, but creating a very clear agenda about how to address those problems. And after elections, you're either in government or you're in opposition. You still have a promise that you've made to those people. And therefore, in constructing your policy, you're looking at how to address the issues that you already talked about in your manifestos. How are you going to address them? What are you going to do about them? Because policies look at a particular problem and how to address that problem. And we have a variant of many problems. As you know, in Azibia, we have the 10-point agenda. So we're looking at Baba Care, we're looking at health, we're looking at insurance, we're looking at the whole of issue of youth and employment in investment. We're looking at the issue of agriculture and how this can be confounded and people can work on it. We're looking at the issues of ensuring that everybody works together, moves together. We're looking at the issues of ensuring that counties become hubs of production and reproduction. Because you know very well, especially under Azimio and hinging on the coalition and devolution, because especially under NASA, we had the whole issue about devolution. What are we talking about? We're talking about bringing down these resources back to the counties and back to the people. So addressing all this problem in a very concise way is the beginning of looking at policy. But as you might know, there are so many variant issues. And therefore, policy allows us to have a very macroscopic approach of understanding a problem. We've got to look at the problem, identify what that problem is, come up with what we might want to call a problem statement of sorts, so that we can be able to see how to go about it, devise policy recommendations about how to solve that problem, and then enact that policy. So it's just a way of ensuring that we don't just have manifestos, that we can actually look at this manifesto and say, for example, if we're looking at a key issue, like, for example, the cost of high living, how are we going to address it? Are we going to address it through agricultural micro-businesses, for example? Are we going to address it from digital economies and hubs? Are we going to address, if it's an issue of education, how are we going to address it? Are we going to address it with free primary education? And you can see, therefore, the tilts that happen. For example, at certain seasons, we had free primary education or free education right up to secondary. If we look at fees, for example, for the university, how do you control the fees over time? And these policy positions sometimes shift and change and create some disability. Yes. So I think policy is meant to be a guiding anchor and a commitment, but you've broken it down to understand what is the problem. For example, if we're looking at agribusiness, we're saying, what is the problem? Is the problem the infrastructure? Is the problem the information? Is the problem technology? Our farmers not, for example, having enough technology. How do we deal that? And then we come up with a mechanism of ensuring that that technology can reach the farmer. If we're looking at interconnectedness between one industry and another, for example, in the field of education, we're looking at how, for example, can industry be looped with educational institutions like TVETs, for example, so that you're looking at young entrepreneurial young people who have skills. How do you make the skills happen? Because that is addressing the cost of living. Because then inadvertently it's addressing employment. So it's a question of connecting all these and coming up with a very comprehensive way of doing it. And we're talking about comprehensive way, then we're talking about the policy brief. A policy brief is just one pager, probably 2 pages, about how exactly to address that problem. So of course, first you must be able to identify the problem, which has been well identified in our manifestos, and then come it up with a way to address in a very concise, informed way. And that is the policy, coming up with the policy, and with that also policy briefs as a way to spotlight exactly what you want to do and how you want to do it.
Yes. Mheshimiwa Maina, again on what Daktari amesema, where does the citizen now participation and considerations of their aspirations play out in all this?
First, I think the aspiration of the citizens, the views of the citizens, at the first instant, they are considered at the representation level by the elected officials. When a member of parliament, when a member of county assembly is elected, they are not just elected to go and take their mind in the areas of, in the chambers of representation. They are elected so that continuously, as they go, as they do their work of oversight, representation, and registration, they can be going back to their backyards, listen to what the people are saying, and be able to registrate or take their views to the relevant platforms. And this platform is the Assembly, the National Assembly, the County Assemblies. Also, when they get the opportunity to meet the executive, because there's always a means of how they will meet. Also, there is a way when they meet the judiciary officials, in one way or the other, during these maybe formal and informal setups. But I think, or I believe, the first instant in regards to how views of the common citizens can be taken up is through the elected officials. The other means is through media. When we are talking here, you realize there are people who are participating in this discussion through the digital platforms. Some will send messages to you, some will send messages to the hotline of the media. This is also a second channel upon which, or through which, citizens can air their views on any policy brief. The other one is on other social platforms, like the civil societies organizations, the society groups, community groups, or organizations that have been set up by the citizens themselves, even the church or the religious institutions. So these are some of the platforms which can be taken as credible institutions and platforms that citizens can air their views. And I believe these platforms are democratic institutions. But they are democratic platforms, yes, where views taken or where views expressed can be taken by the relevant personnel and relevant institutions for action.
Have political parties so far utilized or leveraged on these platforms to the best of the potential that they have?
I think there is room for improvement from where I stand. In regards to how political parties can be taking up the views of citizens and push them with a lot of transparency and with a lot of vigor. There is room for improvement, and this comes with as a challenge also to the Register of Political Parties in regards to how they are empowering our political parties with the political party funding, timely political party funding. We have been seeing, like for instance, last year or last financial year, political parties were complaining in regards to reduced remittances from the Register of Political Parties on the funds that they are provided. You realize a political party such as ODM and UDA, these are political parties that are parliamentary parties. And I think it is important that the Register of Political Parties timely remits these funds to the political parties so that they can be able to carry out their grassroots activities. And it is from those activities that they will be able to take the views of Mwananchi, and these views will inform some of the laws that are sponsored by members, private members, or even political parties themselves that they are sponsoring in the parliament or even in the county assemblies. So it is a question of improvement of how we take up our views from Mwananchi and how our democratically established institutions can facilitate action of these views that are expressed by common Mwananchi. But I can tell you, from where I sit, the political parties have really tried, because you realize some of the bills that are sponsored by members of parliament and members of county assemblies, they have the blessings of the political parties. As from where I sit, the experience that I've gained the last 2 years, you cannot just wake up as a member and sponsor a bill without seeking some level of understanding from your political parties, because you, as a member, you'll need the confidence, you'll need the understanding of members of your political parties, so that when you are taking it, you can also be able to talk to members of other political parties. Yeah.
Mheshimiwa Zani, how would you say these policy briefs are helping members of parliament to formulate bills that reflect the will of the people?
When you're looking at policy implications and when you're looking at policy recommendations, you're looking at a wide spectrum about some very concrete deliverables that you should be able to achieve. Yes. Members of parliament come through with legislation. This legislation is informed by what is happening and by the issues. As you know, most political parties are always in touch with the grassroots, so you can actually see what is happening to and fro. But you've got to be able to infuse these issues into legislation itself in a very concise manner. When it comes to the issue of implementation, that is handled by various government policies and government bodies, including, for example, the ministries and others. So it becomes a broad spectrum issue. But for example, if you're looking at examples of, for example, policy recommendations on issues like, for example, value addition. How do you add value to a product? How do you ensure that the avocado that we export is not exported just as an avocado, but it is exported in all its variants, including value addition, for example, avocado oil? Put that out for exportation. And therefore, that will infuse on legislation, so that in terms of your legislation, you give in mandate to various stakeholders and bodies, including the ministries, to enact such a thing. If you're looking at issues, for example, of value chains or open market policies, how do we improve the markets? How do we make more people know about the markets? How do we improve, for example, technology? How do we ensure that what is happening in one corner of the world can actually be quickly taken to another corner of the world, so that we can use, for example, internet, we can use interconnectivity, we can be able to tell what the weather patterns are, what to do at a particular time, what is the new thing, what are the new investments that people are making.
There is, from what you're saying, there's some sense of capacity building in all this.
There's a sense of capacity building, but it has to be infused in the mechanism and how to do it. So it becomes very important for political parties to be able to spin this out, to be able to point this out directly. And as you might know, within the coalitions, both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, we've had interactions with the International Republican Institute, who have been basically across the various coalitions key in ensuring that we begin to bring these manifestos, ideas, and everything we want to do in a very concise way. When you have a policy brief, it's just a guide. But that policy brief will contain, for example, issues like job-driven policies. How do we get policies that are going to drive the market? How are we going to get, as you know, one of the issues that has come up very recently is the issue of unemployment. And we're talking about an explosion of almost at 70% youth who are really looking forward to working and they're looking for jobs. How do you infuse that in legislation? For example, just as an example, I was a legislator in the previous, both 11th parliaments and 12th parliaments. I came with a number of various bills, the natural resources bill, the cooperative bill. So at what point do you, for example, if you're looking for how to ensure that within the counties there's a rollover effect, you've got to make sure you put it in the legislation. You've got to make sure you ensure that funds will be created for that. For example, if you're talking about people within the counties being able to take care of their raw minerals or use them, you've got to create the capacity at the ministerial level and at the county level to ensure that those funds run out. And I'm sure you must have had this whole issue about the money bill. The money bills, this is a money bill, so therefore this is a bill that concerns money and therefore has to go through finance ministry. And this is not a money bill, it concerns counties. How do we harness our legislation within the counties so that these counties can say, for example, it's important to put this amount of money, for example, for ECDs, because that is the mandate of county governments. How do we put aside this money for hospitals? How do we put aside this money that can be able to enhance technological advancement if you're talking about agriculture? How are we going to be able to ensure that the hubs work well? How are we going to be able to ensure that our children get employment? What must we do? So once you be able to configure that way, you're tying in both legislative agenda, and that legislative agenda should be very key about the resources and what should happen. I'll give you an example, which I like to give, and this is in the field of education. So you're saying, for example, there's a misfit between the young people who come out, the training, and what the industry wants. So maybe the industry is aiming towards ICT, maybe the industry is aiming towards getting us to be self-employed, maybe it's moving towards ensuring that we're able to get out there with skills. How do we harness the skills? So you might say, to harness the skills, let's loop the educational sector with industry. Let us have, for example, internships. Let these people come Let these people use the new machines. You see, that's where legislation now has to come in. So it's a lot of stuff going in there. It's both the legislation, it is the goodwill, it is the financial component, and that's where we come in as political parties to say that these key issues are important for our people. If our people are to get employment, which is critical, if the cost of living has to come down, if we have to address all these issues, then we must be able to find a way to create that interconnectivity. So it is a very concise process where you're saying, okay, fine. It's fine to say, oh, there's unemployment, or there's insecurity, for example, or we have food insecurity, or we have, corruption, or we have this and the other, or we have unemployment. How do you address it? You can say, yes, we'll address it. We'll have this sort of system for education. As you can see in education, we've always changed our format of education. I remember in our time, we went to 844, and then we changed, and we've been changing. So when you're changing this, what are you attaining in the process? So you've got to keep clear about what you want to achieve. At the end of the day, you want to ensure that that you address employment. You want to ensure that there's a link between youth employment and creativity, and that they are bringing this into industry. So how you've got to talk about legislation, budget, how to make sure that budget goes, training of trainers, and it becomes a whole long list of things that one has to do. But if you're conscious about it, so that we're just not saying the cost of living has gone high, what are we as political parties putting on the table as policy briefs to address that? How are we addressing the unemployment of youth? Can we come up, for example, with a digital economy like India and Pakistan have done? In Africa, our digital economy uptake and our hubs at 1%, and the capacity is very big. Other people are at 10% and above. So how do we begin to rope this in a manner that can make changes for our people?
Definitely. Let's take a short break and we'll continue with this conversation, and we are talking about policy briefs that address issues of concerns by the citizen. Don't go too far. This is Good Morning Kenya.
Safaricom, proud sponsor of Team Kenya at the Olympics.
Qual. Gets the return pass. Into trouble, still holding it. Shot clock down to 2. Gabriel.
Will this be the race where Petey has enough to pull it off? You have Nick Fink right there towards the front. You have Martin Nengi in lane 7 inching forward. Who's it going to be? It will be down to the lunge. It is Martin Nengi. There will be no three-peat.
My goodness me, we will see the Yurchenko double pike, and we will witness the hardest vault out there in the world.
Safaricom, proud sponsor of Team Kenya at the Olympics.
I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
Wagwan, me brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth weight the vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
Alafu kila Tuesday, kata simu tupo side, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She said she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday with me, DJ_Liza Diva,
DJ Cold,
and me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
33 minutes past the hour. You're watching Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migu, and we are talking about policy briefs that address issues of concern to citizens. And I'm having this conversation with Honorable Maina Karobia, an MP to the East African Legislative Assembly, and also Honorable Dr. Agnes Zani, former nominated Senator of ODM. And I want Mheshimiwa Maina to talk about the aspect of representation, especially for the special interest groups. Where do they fit in all these policy briefs?
Each and every political party, from where I sit, is given an opportunity to nominate a person from the special interest group. That is the youth, the women, people living with disability, sometimes even to the extent of the minority groups or the marginalized groups. So it's the people who are nominated across the political parties who the communities around special interest group should be holding accountable. For instance, from where I sit, as a young person, I should be asking the person that we have nominated as a young person in National Assembly and also in the Senate, are they doing their work? And we need to get to an extent where we don't only hold accountable the elected officials, we also need to ask questions the nominated people, because they have been nominated so that they can represent the interest of the groups they have been elected on the platform on. So these are the people who we should be holding accountable. You realize nowadays, even, in fact, yesterday I was sharing, I had paid a courtesy call to the chairperson of the Public Service Commission, and he actually alluded to that also, that among other merits that they also strike a balance on is on the issues of special interest groups, and they go to the extent of also the marginalized groups. Or the marginalized communities. In fact, he emphasized so much on that issue of the marginalized communities. So these are the officials, these are the people that we should be holding accountable in regards to whether the views and the aspirations of the special interest groups are considered. And I'm happy that partners such as the International Republican Institute, that is IRI, they are so much concerned about the special interest groups. I remember in the run-up to the 2022 elections, we used to caucus as young people across political parties under the facilitation of groups or organizations such as International Republican Institute to develop policy briefs around the young people of our nation. And I remember specifically we came up with a youth charter that was bipartisan. I remember we shared a lot of meetings, a lot of platforms facilitated by the Institute with youths from the Azimio coalition, that is Jubilee, ODM, Wiper, and on our side ANC, UDA, and other political parties, to come up with a youth charter that, irrespective of which political party wins power or coalition wins power, those views that were expressed by the young people from a bipartisan level can be considered. So from where I sit, views can be organized, views can be considered by political parties when they assume power, or even when they are on the minority side, to push for registrations in the view of the charters and the documents that have been developed by young people. Even ourselves at the UDA level, we were able to launch a youth charter that was presided over by the president when he was a presidential candidate in 2020. The views I've seen them progressively when he came to power, as he continues his tenure in power. So that's how we are able to take, that's how views of the special interest groups can be considered through the nominated, elected, and appointed officials. Like, for instance, we have advisors of our party leaders from the special interest groups. We have representation of special interest groups wings in our political parties. That is the Women League, the Youth League, the PWD leagues, and the marginalized communities leagues. These are the people we should be holding accountable. These are the people that we should be pushing our views to, so that they can be pushed by the political party for registration and also for action from a resource distribution point of view.
And have they helped the political parties to be in touch with what is happening with the Wananchi?
As I said, there is always room for improvement. There is no perfect leadership. There is always room for improvement. But from where I sit, I've seen, particularly from where I am more inclined to, which is the youth, I've seen our league, or the leagues of our political parties, working closely with development partners to ensure that young people are mainstreamed in the decision-making processes. As recent as next month, there will be something around political parties' training program in Tanzania, mobilizing young people from all political parties across, actually the mainstream political parties in the East Africa region. They will be trained, or they will be taken through the political affairs training program in Dar es Salaam by an organization that operates within the East Africa. And these are some of the ways that young people are represented. These are some of the ways issues of young people can be mainstreamed in the political landscape that we have in our region and also in our country.
So that is definitely addressing the issues of inclusion.
Yeah, the issues of inclusion.
And actually mentorship.
Yeah, by the way, let me tell you one thing, my good friend. I'm not here I'm not at the position that I hold by accident.
Yes.
It is platforms such as the ones that were created by International Republican Institute that they have taken me through trainings, they have taken me through some exposure, that I'm where I am. Otherwise, if I took upon myself just to to fight my way, I wouldn't be where I am. Maybe I would be somewhere loitering on the streets. But it is the platforms such as the ones that we have been provided for by these development partners, by our political parties, because also it's the political party that will expose you to these programs, that we are where we are. So, and I want to really encourage any person from special interest group, please take upon yourself to understand what your political party is doing, because there will always be a program, there will always be an activity that is being pushed by the political party.
So it's not just saying I belong to ODM, I belong to...
Don't just say I belong to ODM and you don't know your immediate representative.
Yes.
Yeah, it is good you get to understand your constituency representative, your county representative, your national representative. That is at the special interest group level, what they are doing. And I'm happy actually, the ODM, just to speak for ODM, they actually have a director who is my good friend, specifically having a director for special interest group.
Yeah.
I met him under this program that I'm telling you about, and he was telling me about they don't only have a representative at the governance point of view only. They actually have somebody who is at the executive level, somebody who is on day-to-day basis following up on the policies that have been made at the boardroom level, and now he is following up for execution and for action. So that tells you, from our political parties have shown goodwill in regards to addressing the aspiration of the special interest groups.
Yeah. Absolutely. And also, there's also, how will this, Mheshimiwa, enhance the aspect of citizen oversight over the representatives in a bid to bring about a people-centered, achieve a people-centered kind of delivery?
So that comes to the deliverables. The deliverables have to be very clear.
Yes.
For example, if you're looking at an income increase of 10% or 20%, that must come out very, very clearly. So you have to have those deliverables in advance. But allow me just to infuse that deliverable and talk about what Mheshimiwa has talked about and linking up with the youth. You know, we have the structures from NGC, National Governing Council, to NDC, and then NEC. And then, as he rightly said, we even have the people living with disability as a league within NEC and the report, and we're able to see what is happening. So tying with your issue of deliverables, I just want us to key in this specifically with policy. And I want to use the example you've said about the youth to link up with a policy brief that we have worked on in collaboration with the IRI and I'll bring out these deliverables that you're talking about in a very concise manner. So there are two policies that we have worked on. We've worked on a digital economy and we've also worked on agribusiness as a way to address the issue of cost of living. Under digital economy, we're looking at how we can improve the skills of the youth, especially in the digital hub, which should be so difficult because they're already so digitalized, you know, driven. So, and that can happen within 6 months. We are comparing this with a digital economy of 2.5 trillion worldwide, and yet our annual our uptake for this is just 1% in Africa. We're looking at an annual growth for this industry at 10%. At the same time, we're talking unemployment and the cost of living. We're looking at to ensure that at the end of the day, we're making this digital hub work for us. And we're making sure that we're addressing the issues thereof. So we come to how do we do it? And these are the deliverables that we're talking about. How do we do it? We must ensure we have an authority in charge to ensure this digital hub is well run. The training is done in a substantive way. We need to come up with legislation. We need to be able to come up with very clear issues about, for example, digital rights and how do we talk about this. We need to ensure that we do not have a digital divide, and this is the issue of marginalization. Those who are coming from the urban areas, those who are coming from the rural areas, how are we able to do that? We need to be able to ensure that there's connectivity and we are promoting digital inclusion so that everybody can come on board. That is a measurable that we can, within the political parties, be quickly able to do. We simply look at the hubs, for example. And there's a hub at the African level that is very, very active. And we look and see how many Kenyans are there, how many youth are there. Are these youth from the urban or the rural area? Are these youth those otherwise abled, or are these people living with disabilities? And that's very easy to put together. And then we need to talk about the issues of security and cyber space security and come up with policies that can work. Because it's one thing, and this is what I want to emphasize, you can come up with an idea. For example, digital economy as our way out to help this youth we're talking about. But if we don't come up with comprehensive recommendations as policy to make it happen, it will not happen. Within a very short time, we'll find that it's already been spaced out. For example, the issue of intellectual rights. How are they able to have patents for the things that they have been able to innovate within that hub? And how are they protected to ensure that those rights remain with them? And you know, we've had many stories about innovation.
There are, especially, I interacted with a few students from several TVET institutions, and they have very serious inventions.
Exactly.
But when it comes to
patenting, and then that becomes a demotivator. So you're asking about deliverables. If we make that a deliverable, that we have proper patent rights, and these are followed through, there's very clear privacy and security measures that are put into place to ensure that happens, then that will bring us to create this employment and education and innovation and training coming in there. So I've addressed your question within our policy framework. This is one policy brief, and within a short time, I hope I'll also be able to look at a bit of agriculture, if we touch on that. But when we're looking at this digital economy, it is about the youth, and I'm bringing it in because you've asked about this youth. How do we bring in that inclusivity? How do we begin to send out the information that these hubs are easy to manage? How do we, for example, set out processes to ensure that every constituency, for example, has a digital hub? You know, and some constituencies have been able to do that. We can even use CDF, for example. We can use the money allocation within the counties to make sure that these digital hubs. You see, when you have young people who have these skills, with full of energy and innovations, and they're not able to get out that innovation, it becomes frustrating. So have those hubs. We have India and Pakistan. People are working. We can work from here, but we can be working, for example, solving the issue of Australia, for example. They can say we are leasing out our processes, for example, to purchasing to the young Kenyan men and women to be able to run our digital hubs for us regarding, for example, transportation, regarding, for example, sales. And this is what people are doing because many organizations want to remain with their core business. So we can tap this youth that way through digital hubs. Make sure we have deliverables that are very clear. Make sure we tighten those spaces that make it difficult for them to be able to run and make them be able to work. And then we can quickly come back and say, has this deliverable been achieved? What is the percentage increment, for example, in employment? How many hubs do we have now? We started off with one in one county, and I know in many of the devolved units, quite a number of county governments are beginning to do that. But this is a $2.5 trillion industry, and we can easily tap on it and solve a problem for ourselves.
There's you want to add something? Yes.
Yeah, actually I want to maybe emphasize on what Dr. has said. They say that the Kenya Kwanza administration had actually, and I think it's still in the process. I had the president speak about it when he was doing the town hall in the coast, that we are going to set up digital hubs at the constituency level. Members of parliament are supposed to build, I think they had allocated 50 million per constituency for these digital hubs, and they might cascade them up to the ward level.
Yes.
So what they are going to do, according to the government's plan, and it is in line with, remember I talked about the digital superhighway as one of the pillars of the bottom-up transformation agenda. These hubs, they are going to be built across our country, irrespective of which political party a member of parliament comes from. And it is a national government initiative implemented by the members of parliament. And I think this will go in line with what Mheshimiwa is speaking about in regards to creating jobs, in regards to us working remotely without necessarily having to fly out. And I like the fact that he has said it is a 2.5 trillion industry.
It's a 7.5.
And Africa has only utilized as 1%.
A $2.5 trillion industry in dollars.
I think there's a lot of potential in that area.
That's a very big industry, and I really hope that the government can take it seriously. I hope the implementing people, that is the members of parliament, can even look even for other development partners. You don't have, the government, the president says that they are going to look for, once the members of parliament construct the ICT hubs, the government of Kenya is now coming to bring the internet and other equipment. I would also suggest the members of parliament should go out of their way to look for other equipment that can also supplement the government effort, so that we can have fully equipped and competitive ICT hubs in our constituencies. And you realize now the Silicon Savannah that we speak about, that when the president had made a visit to the US, the people from the US, the leadership of the US was speaking about, can actually become a reality. And you realize even people from other parts of the world will be coming to see the implementation of this phenomenon across the world, of how we have implemented it. And this is actually going to put, it is going to remove the youth from the streets and put them into productive sector.
Exactly.
That is the digital.
And you see, now we're beginning to unravel what we started. You know, when we were going through our manifestos, for us as hashtag inawezekana, skills, SMEs, innovation, and the hubs, making this happen, making sure that, for example, it will bring kazi kwa wote. It will ensure that everybody is able to work. It will improve manufacturing and SMEs. And the same sort of thinking in terms of policy across that is across agriculture. We must speak, I see time is moving, if we allow Mike, we must speak about agriculture because 80% of Kenya is agriculture. Some statistics give us at 70%. So it is another cost, another area where we can address the cost of living. There's so much opportunity in agriculture. If we can do agribusiness, we begin to look at agriculture as a business. already 70% of the youth also stay in the rural areas. They're coming into the towns. There are no jobs in towns, not to the extent that we can get. So how, for example, can we mechanize agriculture? What sort of value addition can we make with agriculture? For example, setting up processing of industries at the product point of view, so that at the source, so that you have industries right there. And that will create employment immediately.
It's a ripple effect.
It's a ripple effect. You know, I talked already about exportation and ensuring that this doesn't happen, but I just want to go to the policy implication and look at strategic recommendations that we can use in agriculture. For example, we can use what we call Internet of Things, IoT.
Yes.
To loop farmers. You know, to look farmers and say, we've produced a lot, we're overflowing in avocados, we're overflowing in cashew nuts. Where is it needed? You know, you can actually make these sort of quick transactions and discussions very, very quickly. We need to be able to come up with research and development for better crop yields. For example, if you have a crop yield that is not very productive, how are we able to harness so that we use our technologies and our information? That is part of the policy brief now. So we have a policy brief for agriculture. How do we enhance agriculture to create employment and address the cost of living, because then we'll have employment and people will be able to survive. Local processing plants, for example, and the value addition that I spoke to. Securing land ownership, which is a problem in some places. So you find somebody has land, but they're not sure about whether to produce long-term crops because they're not sure about the land tenure system and how secure they might be in it. Credit guarantees schemes. Many of the farmers have ideas, but they don't know how to get these credit guarantee schemes. So again, it comes back
to it's access to finance.
Exactly, access to finance.
I think it is good from what the senator is saying.
Yes.
There was this organization that was called, I think, Agricultural Finance Corporation, something.
Yes.
I think it is time we operationalized. That corporation is a means of offering credits to farmers. And we also need to operationalize the former system of agricultural extension officers so that we can equip our farmers with the knowledge. I was reading some, I don't want to call it some conspiracy theory, but I found it making sense. They were saying that one of the reasons as to why nowadays our farmers are finding challenges and is because some development partners, some globalist development partners came to our farmers or came to our government and told them to remove the agricultural extension officer. And it is from there and then the farmer was left on his own devices to fight with what you would call the soil science or soil research. You are the one to know whether this soil is good for doing a certain farming. We left the farmer to do to determine all the agricultural inputs that can be put for farming. And what does that mean? It means that along the way, the farmer is going to give up on farming because there is no science around the agricultural part of it, which was supposed to be done by the agricultural extension officer. Then what does the farmer do? The farmer will now turn the agricultural productive area to a concrete jungle. Exactly. So because you want to earn a living. If agriculture is not offering that living, what do? You are going to put up buildings.
And it's actually, and you see, at Azimio, we have said, Fukuzanja, through this same agriculture, blue economy, the blue economy, the livestock farming. And we're happy one of our members, former governor of Mombasa, Mheshimiwa Hassan Joho, is now a CS in blue economy. The cost is so strong on blue economy. How are you going to, I remember some time back there was a legislative agenda that for each of the various counties, identify the strong point. Go to, for example, Kericho and ensure that your empowering the youth to get into the tea industry, in the blue economy, get into fishing and the mining sectors and the fisheries and the blue economy, and putting that all together. But again, other just quick 2 ones which had left out: extension services.
We have been added sometimes.
Oh, you notice I'm now. I'm looking at those 2 minutes.
We have been added sometime, but at 8 we are going for a break, but we'll come back. But
very good. Yeah. So for example, extension services, is part of those strategic recommendations in the policy brief, which addresses our azimio of fukuza njaa. And kufukuza njaa means giving people dignity. Somebody ambaye ana njaa hana hiyo fadhila ambayo anahitaji kuwa nayo, and that sort of thing. And then agribusiness education, farming techniques. Remember, extension services were very key in many of the counties. Management skill, introducing mechanization in agriculture. That can become very important. You've seen in some countries, they have high yielders, for example, of grapes. And they export wine in big numbers. In the coast, for example, we have the coconut, the palm, and you can find this same coconut, as desiccated coconut, be sold in another country. And yet the person who is tapping that tree needs it to feed the child, to go to school for that child,
so for that person. Losing capacity, we are losing revenue. Exactly.
So it's very important. We're going back to what we said at the beginning, and we asked ourselves when we started this process with IRI, what are the issues in our parties? And we went to the coalition levels. What are our issues in Azimio? One country, one product, wealth creation. How do we do that? Kazi kwa wote, fukuza njaa, inua jamii, Azimio la wakina mama, waste not a single child, administrative continuity, and all this coming together. So now we are tying all this and saying, how do we address? This is our policy brief. Let's do this. Let's bring in everybody on board. I know you want us to go for
Yes, so on to that point, we'll go for a break. We'll be right back. Don't go too far.
France welcomes the world for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. In this edition, heroic Team Kenya is pushing boundaries as well.
An Olympic gold medal.
More significantly, Kenya is intent on claiming victory at the quadrennial sporting event comprising of 45 sports that will be staged from 24th of July through to the 11th of August. Here comes a dose for everyone.
Yes, it is!
For the athlete, it is chasing a dream of a lifetime. And for the fan, witness history in the making, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Are you a talented artist? Or are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? But money can be very hard to find for an upcoming artist. Don't worry, Studio Mashinani has got your back. Sign up on ajira.co.ke to book a session with your music and video producers across the country. Work on your music, jingles, spoken words, and even podcasts to realize your dream. All for free. Studio Mashinani, Radani Talent.
I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
Wagwan, me brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth weight the vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
Alafu kila Tuesday, Chata simu tupo side, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She say she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday with me, DJ_Liza Diva,
DJ Colda,
and me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
Unanifanya nisikie kunyongwa. Hadija ai, mani especially ukisonga.
Thank you for staying tuned to Good Morning Kenya here in KBC Channel 1. And as we continue with this conversation, what I can deduce is that both across the political divide, you have a convergence of where the country needs to be. Do you agree on that?
I think from where I sit and how I say it is that we Kenyans know our challenges. We Kenyans also know where Kenya should be. The only difference is the approach that we are going to use to move from where we are, which we all agree we are in a certain space, and we all agree Kenya should be in a certain space. The difference is just the approach that we are going to use. But with the recent events, there has been convergence. There has been bridging the gap between the minority side and the majority side of our political system. And now we have seen the people from the minority side have joined the majority side, and they seem to have an understanding of the approach that we are going to use to reach to the destination, the economic, political, and the social destination that Kenya should get to. And I think these are, I remember during the campaign period, analysts, political analysts and commentators were trying to find the areas of convergence between the Azimio coalition and the Kenya Kwanza coalition. This situation that we have currently, the broad-based government, presents a phenomenon and profound opportunity for the political divides to now work on the areas of convergence and understanding that they presented in 2022 and moving forward towards the 2027 now, we can be able to work on and move Kenya to that direction that we all know Kenya should be. And issues like agriculture, for instance, we all need to be food secure. And we have said here, together with the Senator, that there is need for return of the Agricultural Extension Officer. Yes. There is need for operationalization of the Agricultural Finance Development Corporation, so that farmers can now be able to access affordable credit financing for the agricultural activities. The issues of digital hubs and the digital economy, there is need for operationalization of the digital ICT hubs at the grassroots level, particularly from the ward level, so that now this industry can now take over or can take into the consideration some of the demands that young people took the streets to present. These are areas that all of us, irrespective of which political party you belong to, we all agree on, because it takes care of our present and it also takes care of our future. For instance, there is also the issues of infrastructure development, the improved road networks, improved air transport, improved railway transport. These are areas that we all need to work on. We don't need to bring new infrastructure development, but we need to work on the already existing development plans that we have as a country. So, and if you ask any Kenyan, will tell you they know where Kenya should be. They have an understanding where Kenya should be. ETO needs what you would call political goodwill. ETO needs some level of integrity from leaders and selflessness from leaders so that people can realize what will people be saying of you 5 years down the line? What will people say about you 10 years down the line? It's all about legacy. For instance, Mheshimiwa Senator Zani, we all know she is the single most senator who sponsored bills. I don't think there is any private member in the last parliament, or the last parliament, sponsored as many private members' bill as her. That is something you can take from her. And that is the legacy that is even on record on Kenya's parliament. Leaders need to realize it is not what you acquire. I was seeing the obituaries here. I've not seen any person who has been written of the amount of money or a lot of or the amount of asset they own. People will only speak of where you are working, the kind of legacy you left, and the kind of impact you left in our country and to the people that you are leading. So I think it is upon leaders that have been given positions of authority to realize that it is not how much you acquire, it is not how much you own, but it is how you impact lives. So the people have been given authority from the recent appointments, the cabinet secretaries. Please work on the jobs that you have been given. Otherwise, people will just come out again to the streets and demand for your removal. And we have seen the president that we have is a president who listens. If the president acquires intelligence that people don't want you to continue holding a certain position, believe you me, he will have no otherwise other than to recuse you or to just remove you from the position that he has given you in confidence and in trust, based on the power that the Constitution gives him.
Yes, Senator, you have to agree that given all these matters around policy brief, it's about working for the people, not just what the party stands for.
Partly the party represents, in the understanding of the party, the desires of the people, because there is meant to be a very close interconnectedness. But the political parties, and especially those in leadership positions, use the sovereignty of the nation for their powers. So it is the needs of the people. And the people will keep presenting these needs over and over again. I see it also as the Deputy Secretary General in ODM. Yes. And I can tell you our issue for Azimio was issued on 22nd April 2022 from the Office of the Registrar of the Political Parties. If you look at our ODM manifesto and you look at the Azimio manifesto, there's a lot of divergence. In the workshop, we looked at the various coalitions, the main two coalitions, Kenya Kwanza Coalition and Azimio Coalition. And you look at the issues, different language, different presentations, different terminology. It's the same people. We live in Kenya. So if in Kenya we have unemployment, we have unemployment. It is for all the people. If we have the cost of living is high, it is a problem for everybody. If we have the problem of health, education, food security, these are the problems we need to be addressing. So the manifesto is the starting point, understanding this problem. But because also we have that mandate, we have legislators, governance. We started this program with governance. Yes. How do you govern? How do you lead? What issues do you bring? We have the ministries, 22 of them. How do they tackle the various issues? How is the issue of energy tackled? How is the issue of finance going to be tackled? How is the issue of cooperatives going to be tackled? How is the issue of mining and resources going to be tackled? You know, all these issues come back to governance. And how are you serving the people? So different levels. At the macro level, governance. As we come down, we come to manifestos and the political parties. Kenya does not have a limitation to how many political parties. I think we're headed to almost 100 political parties. I think we're about 97 political parties presently. And each political party comes with its own aspirations. But believe me, you, Mike, if you look at the manifestos of Africa, let alone Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, we share the same geospace. Our regional issues are the same. So if it's agriculture, for example, if we're talking about problems of irrigation, problem of seeds and getting quality seeds, problem of infusing technology in agriculture and many others, it's going to touch across the board. How we go about it will be different. And then again, this is again made complex because of our inherent, what we've come up with, you know, different systems. We call ourselves in ODM, we are social democrats. So we're looking at, you know, looking at the socio-economic impact of everything we do. When you go to the national level, you have other countries are socialists. Other countries will be termed capitalists. Other countries will be termed, in other countries, Republicans. Others will be termed Democrats, each with their own that they're bringing in. And why are they important? Now the people have to vet. Somebody will make a choice. They look at ODM, they look at Azimio. They say, I resonate with what they're doing. Once we get that, thumbs up, once we get that indicator, what we do with it, and coming up with these policy briefs and coming up with a clear policy. The policies are there. The policy briefs are there. But how to harness them and make them, you know, you can only pick on one issue. Like, for example, when we went for this workshop, we picked on 2 issues. We picked on many others, but we settled for 2. We looked at the cost of living, and then we came to the digital hubs, and we came to the agriculture. So digital economy and agribusiness. And from that already, you can imagine the richness of what has come out can emanate into the other fields. Now, you imagine, Mike, and viewers, you look at, you go to manufacturing, you go to innovation, you go to farming, you go to fisheries. Each of them will come up with its own dynamic. Now, we have that responsibility because we need to be able to come out and say, we made a difference. We have all the polls. We have, for example, maybe the many polls, you know, recent TIFA polls, for example. Even the issues some of the younger generations have been raising are issues that have been raised for a long time. You know, audit of public debt, for example, with accountability, you know, issues of unemployment among the youth, all this come up. So finally, you have a model where you look and say, for this particular country that had this particular policies, this particular manifesto, this particular goals, where have you reached? We're always improving. And of course, we have mitigating circumstances. We might want to go for the best technology, but maybe we have our own limitations. But we've improved maybe in investment. We've improved in transport. You know, we have SGR now. We can have a new coach at a certain amount there that has been mentioned. You travel quickly. That means I don't have to have a farm here in Nairobi or in the environs. I can have my farm in Malindi. And I can just dash to Kwale in and out and come and, you know, network. And so all these, we call them enablers. Yes. How to get these enablers on board, but also how to remain focused. And how to be able, not only, we have always been told in Kenya, we're very good at recommendations and policies and manifestos. You know, we have them. Now, we've got to move to implementing well, and also share that information. Actually, I was sometimes, yes. I was coming to implementation. Yes. Yeah, sometimes also, it's not really a problem of there is implementation, but sometimes we haven't talked about it. So now, recently, you'll hear more talk about it. For example, this is what we have achieved. Our employment levels are here, they've been moved to this place. You know, we have been able to create hubs, maybe not so many yet, but we have a couple of them within the various counties. That's where the evaluation framework comes. And that's why in policy, and especially when you're looking at policy in the process, you've got to look at the process, the outcome, the impact, and then you've got to go to the cost-benefit analysis. What is the benefit vis-a-vis the cost? Have we been able to move from one place to another? And we can move in very cumulative way. For example, the idea of the regional hubs or the regional, you know, instead of counties, the regional caucuses. Yes. So that, for example, if you come from the lakeside, you can amass your resources and do something meaningful. Under devolution, a lot of meaningful things have been done. And I think we are steering this country, continuing to steer this country. We hope with good governance, accountability. We have the challenges, yes, they will always be there. But when we have direction as political parties, this is the initiative we're trying to do. We're trying to break it down into tangibles and deliverables in policy briefs.
Mheshimiwa Maina, as we come to a close, how are we, political parties going to help now in implementing these briefs, policy briefs?
I think from where I sit, the political party needs to sensitize their members, not actually members, the elected members, to carry out oversight role. And the oversight role means that if a political party has sponsored a certain bill and it has been acted on and developed to allow members of elected officials of that political party and even nominated can be able to carry out the oversight mandate by making sure that they follow up or they oversight the implementation level of that law at the executive level. So, and this means, like, I remember the president when he was appointed the cabinet secretaries, he told them that they will be having what you would call question asking and answering sessions in the parliament. And this has been an ongoing practice from the executive level, where you find the relevant committees and also the parliament itself can actually summon a cabinet secretary for questioning by the committee, so that from there they can be able to be held accountable by the relevant committee and relevant caucusing of parliament to ensure that they follow up on the implementation part of these laws and these development initiatives that have been proposed both by the committees and also by the executive itself. Yeah.
Mheshimiwa Zani, I want to start with you as you give your parting shot.
Thank you very much. It's been a lovely opportunity, another chance to come up with ideas on how to build a country. We are all in it from the different generations, all trying to make things better. And clearly from where we sit within political parties, very important to use that mandate to meet the will of the people. You make things easier, because by the time you come back to seek the mandate, you say, look, I've already done 1, 2, 3, 4. It makes it easier. You can be able to remain in touch with the people. And it's not for a good reason that we have 290 constituencies and their representations thereof, including other levels of representations through nominations, as Mheshimiwa Karobe has said, through the women representatives through the nominated senators, for example, in the Senate of Kenya. We have all the various different representation. 290 constituencies have somebody in charge to look directly at what is happening. At the devolved unit, 47 counties can have our macroscopic eye, look at what the issues are and delve into the issues and bring it out. Most of the time the issue will be finances and not enough finances, but there are innovative ways of going about it. And some of these, for example, like the digital hubs, get us out of a problem where we are in. It's a sort of, if we want to say, low-hanging fruit, you know, the digital economy, which is being explored at the moment. We have the agricultural economies, we have the educational and investment and all this. So it's really maybe just to have our focus on trying to say, yes, these are our recommendations, these are our achievables, and this is how we want to achieve them more directly. A policy brief is very direct. It's a 2-page thing, and it's a 2-page document, and it just says exactly how you're going to address a certain problem. Because sometimes I think when you have that clarity, it makes it easier. You might have a lot of clarity in many issues, but you say, if I do these 3 things, for example, if I'm able to put infrastructure into place, if I'm able to ensure that in each county we have so many digital hubs, if the digital economy, if we can, for example, have an interconnectedness with the international world, the uptake in Africa is 0.7%. It is not even 1% yet. So there's capacity. So maybe the briefs help us to be able to look and find innovative ways of handling issues, and maybe come up with one and say, here we can do this. So maybe we explore and keep broadening how we want to address political parties, but always remember, we have a responsibility to those who have elected us.
Yes. Mheshimiwa Maina.
Yeah, once again is to really thank you as KBC for hosting us. It was a very objective discussion. This is an engagement that we need to keep on having, so that we can be able to enlighten and also communicate to our viewers and also the Kenyan public on some of the development initiatives that have been carried out, and also the scorecard of the government and also the scorecard of our political parties in regards to what they promised, and also really sensitize people on the kind of leveling that we need for our leaders. It is good that we continue holding our leaders accountable, because it's not out of envy or it's not out of bad intention, but it's rather to ensure that we keep them in check so that they can do better in regards to making our life better in our republic. I also want to really thank the Kenyan public for demanding the best from their leaders for the last two months. We cannot afford to be on the periphery. We cannot afford to be comfortable in regards to the direction which our country should take. We should continue always demanding for the best so that we can get value for our taxes and get value for our money. Thank you.
Your time is so much appreciated. Thank you for joining us on Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you for having us.
That is Honorable Dr. Agnes Zani, a former nominated senator by ODM, and Honorable Maina Karobia, who is an MP to the East African Legislative Assembly, talking to us about policy briefs that address issues of concerns to citizens. This is where we cap this discussion, but don't go too far. Good Morning Kenya continues shortly. We'll be joining Victor in a little bit, where he'll be bringing us details and what is happening at KBC in regards to the 100 years celebration of TVETs in the country. My name is Mike Migwi. Don't go too far.
My name is Coach Bernard Uma, one of the middle distance coaches for Paris 2024 and part of the National Olympic Committee performance team as a sports scientist and data analyst. We are asking Kenyans and all the track and field lovers to rally behind these teams, rally behind track and field and any other sports that is going to Paris. We need your support for these people to perform. The Gen Zs who are very good at social media. We want you to support the team, encourage them. If they lose, encourage them as well. That is the next time. If they win as well, positive vibes. Thank you.
All right, very good morning and welcome to this live broadcast here from the KBC National Polytechnic in Nairobi. An amazing day for us here at this particular event, KBC National Polytechnic celebrating 100 years. Now that is older than most of us alive today. I will say that with a lot of authority. 100 years. And we will talk about TVET and polytechnics in the country. One institution that will always come through your mind is KBC National Polytechnic. Most of the politicians that you're seeing in the country today, who is who in the economy today, some of them actually passed through this particular place. But I want us to delve deeper into this conversation and they really understand what is really happening here today. And I'm also made to understand the president will also be gracing this particular event. And what are we looking forward to in as far as celebrating 100 years of KBC National Polytechnic is concerned. And on set, I'm joined by Esther Moria, who is the PS, Dr. Esther Moria, who is the PS for Principal Secretary, State Department for Technical Vocational Education Training in the country. PS, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Victor.
It's been a while. The last time we met was at our studios in KBC.
Yes.
How have you been?
I'm great and grateful to God. Pushing on with the work.
Yes.
No major issues. And the issues that are there, we are able to surmount them.
Yes.
One way or the other. Yes.
Let's talk about 100 years.
Yes.
Now that is a huge statement. KBC National Polytechnic celebrating 100 years. Let me start by asking you, how does that make you feel as the lady in charge of TVETs in the country?
Thank you, Victor. It's amazing that we can talk about such a journey in a space like this.
Yes.
We have decided, and we sat down and decided as a department that we are going to make this a big thing. Originally, we had decided to just celebrate as KBC institution, but we realized that the fact that we are talking about 100 years of the existence of KBC, it's KBC as a TVET institution. So we decided to make it nationwide because we want to celebrate TVET. So we invited His Excellency, the President, Dr. William Ruto, to come to Nyeri National Polytechnic because we wanted to make a statement on top of a hill, symbolically. So we invited him to Nyeri to come and launch the celebration of 100 years of celebrating TVET in Kenya. And we agreed with him, and that is why he will be here tomorrow, that the culmination of this will be now at the spot where TVET started 100 years ago. It is exciting. It's been a journey, and it makes us as TVET sit down and look at where we are coming from, look at the challenges and the hiccups and the success stories, and be able to redefine our way forward, going into the next century, so to speak, for the department. It's exciting. And I am grateful to God that I'm on the seat as we celebrate the 100 years.
I'm quite interested because you talked about the key milestones, the achievements, you know, the hiccups, the hits and misses. But let me start by the key achievements that you so far made ever since you came into office.
Yes.
TVET has been very close to the president's heart, so to speak. What are some of these milestones that you've achieved so far?
Thank you, Victor. Since I have been here about 1.5 years, I came to a space that, to me, did not look very, very focused. Victor, before I came here, I was in a university administration for many years. And my work at the university was really to focus training for the university, JKUAT for that matter. So when I came to this space again, I decided that I wanted to refocus the department as far as training and everything is concerned. So one of the key things that I looked into was the curriculum. What were we training in TVET? What exactly do we want to achieve with a trainee in TVET? And Victor, I decided to refocus the curricula into skills because what we want to achieve in the TVET space is people who have the skills. We go to the higher level and we learn to a very large extent to be managers and to be people at that higher level. But we need people who are actually doing it. So I decided to refocus on coming up with people who are actually doing what they're supposed to do. So I started by recrafting the curricula into skill set where if we are talking about training building and civil engineers who are also being trained at the universities, I want the technicians, the skilled people in these areas. So we decided to refocus the curricula so that in building and civil engineering, which is my favorite, we have people who can do masonry as should be done to it. We have people who can do painting to it. We have people who can do gypsum technology to it, etc., etc. So that even as you graduate at the higher level of building and civil, you can actually be able to undertake each and every one of these skills, and that goes for every area.
What has it been changing the mindset from the space where you are?
Yes.
And now you're trying to change the mindset of being in a university and making it come together with TVET. How has it been for you?
For me, I must say it wasn't a very big challenge for me because, like I told you before, my work even at the university was to focus so that the students I admitted, trained, examined and certified they went through a straight path. Whereby if you are admitted to a certain space, there is no saying you are admitted to civil engineering and then I don't know where along the way mechanical. No.
Yeah.
I graduated you in what I admitted you to be. So for me, refocusing this space so that if we are training this skill was not an issue. Remember, this is all education, and just deciding this is what we should be educating or training our young people into. For me, was not a big challenge.
Right.
Yes. So recrafting the curricula is one of the achievements I would want to talk about since I came to the institution. Secondly, is bringing back the examination body. When I came in, I still found NEC as the body that is examining our students.
What do you have currently?
What we have currently now is CDAC, Curriculum Development Assessment and Certification Council. Fortunately, the then CS and myself were able to have a conversation with His Excellency the President, and he directed that CDAC should come back, and it came back immediately. So what CDAC does is developing the curricula from industry with reference to industry, so that we have industry. We have industry councils who sit with CDAC to come up with occupational standards. From occupational standards, we are able to now develop the curricula that is rolled out now.
That is tailor-made for TVET.
That is tailor-made for that industry.
Yes.
So that if we are training for a particular industry, we already have a conversation with that industry.
Could it be some of the reasons why TVET was not taken so seriously? Because you find that most of the institutions in the country did not have curricula that were not conforming to the market.
Victor, we have had these complaints, let me call them so, for a long time. That industry, in fact, I have been to some industries where I have found now they have a training section where they admit, they employ people and they have to take them to that small school there to retrain them. And that has been a big conversation between us and industry. Now we are telling industry, train with us.
So there's a direct link between TVET and the workforce?
Absolutely.
All right.
Train with us, work with us, so that our students now, as we speak, we have adopted the German GIZ model of training, which is 50-50. 50% in our institution, 50% in industry. And we have even formed an industry framework led by one industrialist called Rajiv, who is leading that space, so that we are inviting industry to be able to realize and to work with us, so that our students during training are also training in industry, where they are able to know therefore exactly what industry needs. Yeah, all right. And even be able to run the culture of that industry, where they will eventually land. And let me tell you, Victor, the ones the students we have been able to train in this model are already in industry. They are already working. So again, we are talking about employability of our youth. We are working with industry so that our students are able to complete their education and be able to move into the workspace.
Is that changing the mindset?
Yes. As the young people now see that we mean business, our training is directional. We are training with an end in mind. This is slowly convincing the young people that if we are talking about employability, TVET is the space to be. Victor, last year, COOPS admitted 9,000 students who are qualified to go to the university, but they chose to come to TVET. This year, they admitted 12,000 students who qualified to go to the university, but they have made a choice for TVET. Why? Because, one, we have been able to convince the young people that our training is absolute, it's directional. We are giving them an end in their training. And number two, we are not limiting anybody's progress. with Kenya National Qualification Authority, which is an authority within TVET or in the education space, we have come up with a policy, with a progression policy, what we are calling K-cuts.
Yes.
Where you can carry your qualifications and be able to go all the way to the university. You can be able to progress all the way. So we are not limiting anybody. But what we are saying is that we have a space where we are able to qualify you with requisite skills that can take you anywhere in this world, and at the same time we have an opportunity to progress to the university space if you are so interested.
Madam PS, now from your explanation, I tend to feel that your desk is so full. You have a lot of things to do, you know, with every single time that you wake up in the morning. But then let me ask you, there has been a chain of reforms in the TVET sector.
Yes.
Take me through some of the, the reforms that you've made this far, and the kind of milestone, either one or two, that you have maybe long term or short term that you want to strike, probably before the end of the year.
I have already told you, Victor, about our curricular reform. We are now not training theories. We are training skills. We are training practicals. That is number one. Number two, I have told you that the examination body, which is CDAC, is now back in place. So we are not doing examination, we are doing assessment. And we have now what we call a portfolio of evidence being stored by the principals in the institutions, which is what will count in the examination of the students. And that is what we are calling assessment vis-a-vis examination. And then the other reform, of course, is the training space. We are continuing to come up with more TVET institutions. And also this year, our focus is on linking with industry. In other words, what we are saying is that we are invited industry to our space where we have industry linkages officers in all the institutions who are speaking to the industries across the country so that they are able to train with us. And remember, Victor, because we don't have huge industries like in Germany, which is the model that we are using, Juakali is one of our industries. And we have a lot of Juakali in Kenya. And what we are saying, we are working with the Juakali Association very closely. And what we are saying is Juakali sector is doing, and we want to train our young people to be practical. So we are also working with the Juakali sector to be able to skill our young people. And finally, we are requesting the government, there is a cabinet memo that we have come up with, which we are soon going to table in the new cabinet, which is going to speak into the encouragement initiatives that the government is going to take to encourage the industry to actually be able to work with us. Once the top government makes that pronouncement, then the industry is going to realize that they have a direction opportunity to work with us.
You know, Madam Pierce, you've correctly outlined the achievement that you've made so far. But despite the achievement, it's not a roller coaster.
No.
You have some challenges that you faced along the way.
Yes.
Maybe one or two, or even 10 if you can. Go ahead.
One of my major challenges when I came to the space is, of course, resistance. Well,
people are not ready to take the change.
Oh, Victor, I faced resistance. You know, I have to achieve this through the principals who are actually the actors on the ground, and they had been used to a training system where you go to class and lecture, and you can keep those notes for 1 year.
That's what we call status quo.
The status quo.
Right.
Of course, getting people off the status quo and telling them no, things have to be done this way now was.
And what is the response?
The response
a year
now,
plus later now?
A year later, I can tell you that we are working now. We are working together. Yeah, only last week, I was able to go around Nyanza. I was in Nyanza last week, and I was able to go through, among other places I go to from time to time, and I'm able to to see what is happening. And right now, even as we speak, Victor, our assessments, what you might call examinations, are going on. And you can see they are going on as is expected on the CDAC model. We still have 2 cohorts of NEC to roll out, so that now we are fully CDAC and CBET. Our curriculum is called CBET, Competency-Based Education and Training. So we have two cohorts to roll out, but we also have 2 cohorts of CBET on the ground since I came to the space. So you can see that the resistance is slowly breaking. I cannot say we are there yet. I know there is still quite some murmuring and some whatever on the ground.
Right.
So that was one of my biggest challenges. The other big challenge, of course, is now with the changes, the influx of students into the space. Yet, we do not have enough equipment yet to be able to.
But that now goes back to the side of the government, because you rolled out the TVETs, you opened doors for more students to come in.
Yes.
But infrastructure is now letting you down, Madam PS.
Yes. But Victor, Rome was not built in a day.
I agree.
And even as Rome was built, there were challenges. The other day, one of your colleagues told me, we have a lot of problems with CBC. We have some students, some of these children do not have teachers. I said, changes have to come either way. And as changes come, these children, these young people are on the space. We cannot take them to the ocean. We make the changes and bring them back. No, we are going to make changes as they are still there. So even in the TVET space, we have those challenges I saw somebody having written on the papers on the other day. No, I think it was on social media. I'm not going to say no very loudly. That some of our students are learning in tents, some in Mabati buildings. Actually, in Kinango on Saturday, where I was with His Excellency the President, he saw a structure which he decided to build, and he actually gave some money to be built, and that is positive. Because we are having more young people coming. Some are learning in tents, but we are going to build. The government may not do it overnight, Victor, but we are going to move on with the challenges and overcome as we move on.
Very well, Madam PS. But let's talk about the issue of capitation.
Yes.
What are you doing about it? Students are coming. Some of them are not able to pay the school fees. Is there something you're doing about school, the capitation?
Oh, well, Victor, from where I sit, I can only have a conversation with I don't know who the government is because I am government myself.
All right, yes.
We can only continue speaking. We can only continue looking into the space because young people have to come to school. And money was never enough. Money has always had to be utilized as it is, as we were, with all the challenges.
What is the proposal as we speak?
The proposal is to continue on the new funding model, where we are saying the ones who are moved from the most disadvantaged families, the government will pay for them. The ones like me and you who can pay, that is the 6th band that has come up now. The people like me and you who can pay for their children, we pay for them, all right? And that is the continuum. So what we are saying is that we are encouraging young people because we want to achieve equity. We are encouraging them to come. Then they apply for funding within the funding model continuum. I am not going to promise you that yes, we are going to be able to fund everybody at the percentage that we should. But as government, we are doing our very best because these young people, as a government, is our priority number one.
Are you afraid of brain drain? That TVET, you are churning out quality, then you let that quality work that you've trained as TVET as a country to be expatriated to some other jurisdictions?
In fact, Victor, what I've realized along the way is that our young people, especially those who are skilled, are not too excited to go out if they can stay within. Of course, there are those who are moving out And that is because as an economy, we may not be able to absorb all our young people. And as they and when they go out, that is okay, because we need them to earn a living as individuals, as families, and we need the remittances as a country.
Yeah.
But I am not afraid of brain drain. Why? Because even as they go on contracts. Like 2 years, like so many years, of course they can renew those contracts and probably be able to come back. But even as those ones go, we are training more. And remember, like in the TVET space, we are actually polishing our training. We are making it better. Remember, since I've told you about the reforms, this has been about only 1.5 years. Give us another 1.5 years. We'll be much better than where we are now. And we will train more. And we are not short of the youth to train. In fact, I've already told you, there are so many now in our institutions. So what we are saying is we are going to train more. And if they can get opportunities within or without, it is okay.
Yes.
It does not occasion brain drain for now. And in any case, because as government, we now actively know where they are. Should we ever need some of them to be back to address one issue or another within the country, we know where they are.
I love your confidence and your focus, the way you are holding TVET in your hands. But this is like your baby.
Yes.
What are some of the growth prospects are we seeing in this baby now?
The good prospects.
The growth.
Growth prospects.
Yes.
One, we are growing every single day in numbers. The young people are coming to our space, and like I've already told you, some of them we have to struggle with the space. We have to train them, and we are also struggling, but we are not too worried as government about the equipment, because we are also acquiring equipment. The other day, and His Excellency the President is following it very closely, I signed a contract of about 13 billion to bring in more equipment. So as government, we are working hard to still acquire that equipment. And like I've told you, I'm sure the boss is really following, because he is also very fond of this space. So we are doing whatever it will take to be able to make this space comfortable, challenging as it is, because it is a real challenge. And of course, the other challenge is trainers. Last year we were able to get 1,300. This year we are getting 2,000, and I'm sure the trend is going to continue as funds allow.
What keeps you awake at night? What keeps you awake up at night?
What keeps
Anytime you think of TVET, what keeps you awake?
What's next? What better thing can I do? Yesterday when I came in the morning, I was telling Gideon Murenga of GIZ that, Gideon, I was thinking about you last night. And what was I thinking about, Gideon? This dual training, because Victor, I am convinced TVET is going to be a success when we are training our young people 50% in class, 50%. The dual training model.
Yes.
When it takes root, then I will say we are successful in TVET. So what is keeping me awake at night now is, how do we make this dual space, this 50-50 training success? The challenge with it, of course, I've already told you, is that the industries are not quite ready, and that's why we are going to cabinet.
Yes.
To have cabinet speak into them.
And that's called for political kind of approach.
Let me tell you another advantage that I have. The political class is very fond of this space. If there are people who support the TVET space with absoluteness, and I am very confident of that, is the political class. Why? Because these TVETs are in their constituencies, they are in their homes.
I get it.
And they want the young people to come to these spaces and get trained. Watoke huko mashinani. We are even going all the way into the Pokot. You know those ones in the forest? Yes. We are going all the way. So if this pronouncement requires political support, it is there. I'm so confident of that.
Madam PDS, I have to let you go, but I'm told that the chief guest has arrived. But you're parting short, moving forward. 100 years of KBC National Polytechnic. This is an achievement. What should we look at in the next 100 years? Most of us probably will not be in the next 100 years.
Me and you, Victor, most likely will not be here. But in another 100, we are looking at the space where, as a country, as a populace, we have people who have the skills. And my dream would be all these young people you see roaming and borrowing, trying to get 100 shillings from politicians. My dream is that they come to this space, have a skill of their own, something they can really call their own, and something they can leverage on to make a living. In the next 100 years, I would like a populace that is learned, that is educated, that is skilled, and they can be able to leverage on what they can call their own to be able to make a living. 100 years I will not be here, but in 100 years I would want to see to see from wherever I will be a country where everybody has got something to hold on to, having gotten it from a TVET.
Your name will be written there.
Amen.
Your name will be written there.
Amen.
Madam Pierce, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Dr.
much.
Pierce Moria joining us. She is the Principal Secretary, State Department for Technical Vocational Education and Training. Joining us here at the KBC National Polytechnic, 100 years, celebrating 100 years. Let's take a break. When we come back, more to come from the other side of the broadcasting house. I'm Victor Lo. Good morning.
Thank you.
It is a cry for hope, a mark of a successful birth, and in most cases, it is a sound that brings forth joy and pride in every home, but most importantly, an indication of the beginning of life. One of Kenya's focus is to provide quality and affordable healthcare services to her citizens, and we focus our attention on a group of often unsung heroes. They are those at the beginning of life, during times of crisis, and moments of joy, playing an indispensable role alongside other healthcare professionals. They are Kenya's midwives. It was at Haven Healthcare in the heart of Nairobi's Rai area where we had the privilege of meeting Mr. Lego, a professional midwife with more than 30 years of experience in caring for Kenyan mothers and their infants. He takes immense pride in his noble profession. For Mr. Lego and his colleagues in the field, midwifery is far more than a profession. It's a vocation deeply rooted in compassion, expertise, and the profound art of nurturing new life. Midwives like him rise each day, not only to bring members of the next generation into the world, but also to support mothers throughout their pregnancy journeys and in the first few weeks of life. Here in Kenya and around the world, midwives play a pivotal role in delivering primary-level maternal and newborn health services to mothers and infants. They bridge healthcare gaps and ensure that the next generation is born healthy and in good shape, ready to face the world.
It is a long journey, let me say, with this midwifery. If you remember, earlier we had what we call community health workers and traditional birth attendants. These traditional birth attendants did some good work, but they were limited with the knowledge. They didn't have the Dopplers I've shown you here. They didn't have the basic requirements. How would they know that they were twins? How would they know that the baby carried inside the mama has some deformities? How would they know that there is a cord around the neck? Nowadays, the technology has grown, and this has bridged that gap that was there. Now we can deliver safely. We have managed to ensure that mamas are well educated, well knowledgeable, about their pregnancies. They know the danger signs. They would rush to hospital and get the care that is needed before things go haywire. So we have really bridged that gap, the gap of not knowing what is next. We nowadays live knowing what is expected.
When Alego is not in his office, delivering newborn babies or mentoring young professionals, he can be found making rounds with a joyful demeanor, ensuring the comfort and well-being of mothers, infants, and sometimes their families. The challenges faced by midwives are immense and can take a toll on their well-being.
I was in contact with a mother. He had not become a mother because he had no living child, because he had 6 miscarriages. So when this mama got the 7th pregnancy, she came to us, and I was lucky to have received her, and we walked the journey. She came when she was only 10 weeks, that is almost 2 months. 2 months as such. So in the 10 weeks, we moved through until 40 weeks. Along the journey, she was being admitted because there was that labor was coming, premature labor. So we had to admit this patient until the last dates. The mama delivered a baby. You see, a mama almost comes out of the coach. You have not gone through the processes of clearing the delivery. She wants to kneel down and to pray before the end of the process. And that one really satisfied me.
Despite these challenges, midwives remain dedicated to their mission of providing safe, compassionate, and holistic care to expectant mothers and their newborns. With a lifetime spent caring for mothers and newborns, Alego serves as a beacon of inspiration for those in the profession and those aspiring to join it. We leave you with the words of our wise forefathers, reminding us of the profound respect that heroes like Mr. Alego deserve from us. Usitukane wakunga na uzazi ungalipo.
I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
Wagwan, me brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth way the vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
simu, tupo side, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She say she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday. With me, DJ_Liza Diva.
DJ Colda.
And me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
KBC Channel 1. We are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who's the man in this one?
And the laughter. Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome back. This is Good Morning Kenya, and you are right in time for our entrepreneurship segment. And today we are going to be looking at women in the beauty industry. Yes, we're going to be looking at this $1 million industry. And joining us for this particular conversation is one Edwina Achieng. She is a beauty guru. Edwina?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're doing all right?
Very well.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. If you may just tell us more about you as a beauty guru. What exactly do you do in the industry?
Wow, thank you so much, Vivian, for having me. I'm humbled to be here. As you've said, I'm a beauty guru. We deal in the spa industry. We have a salon, hair, and a barber shop. Yes, and in the beauty world, we also have nails. We do nail extensions, makeup. Okay. Yeah, so there are lots of things that happen in the beauty world. Yeah, and there's skincare, skin therapy, skin treatments. Yes.
Yeah. So what exactly got you into that world of the beauty world? Because looking at your bio, you studied procurement and supply chain. Yes. So what got you into the beauty industry?
I think one thing that got me into the beauty industry is my love for people. I love being around people, and I love allowing people to feel great about themselves, feel good about yourself. You know, I'm a great advocate for self-love, self-care, and my love for that and my passion for that allowed me to venture into that business, because you meet people, you meet different women, men who want to take care of themselves first. Because I believe that once you take care of yourself, then you're able to take care of other people. So when you feel beautiful about yourself, when you feel complete from within going outward, then you're able to be, you're going to be a better person in the society. So that's what really encouraged me and drives me towards this industry. Yeah, of course, besides the money.
I mean,
yes, besides the money,
did I just say it's $1 billion industry?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so for how long have you been in the beauty world?
I started way back in 2013, as I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
I partnered with a friend in 2013. So 2013 until now, that's about 11 years. Yeah, so we parted ways 4 years later. Then I had to go back because I loved this business, you know. And besides me doing procurement, being a procurement person and a supply chain person, I decided to go back and just study salon management, beauty therapy, so that whenever you are employing people, you understand what you're doing. So I went back to school and studied that. So after 2 years, then I got Imora by Combas Beauty House. Yeah. Yes.
All right. So when you're talking about the beauty world or the beauty industry, maybe for someone who may be wanting to know some of the things in there, we're talking about hair, right? We're talking about makeup. We're talking about skincare. We're talking about nails.
Yeah, we talk about nails, nail therapy. Yes, skin. Okay, as I said earlier, it's a wide space. So when it comes to hair, there's a lot to do with hair. There are wigs, there are weaves, there are braids, there are hair extensions, there are relaxers, yeah. And when you talk about the skin, which I love most, because I love when a woman, okay, I don't know if it will be so biased when I talk about women, because women are our, great supporters. So when it comes to skin treatments, there are facials, there are body scrubs, there are massages, which are very good. For you to feel like a great person, it's important to go for this kind of treatments. And then when you come to nails, there are nail extensions, there are manicures, pedicures, there are overlays, yeah, where we help your nails grow stronger or stay stronger. And then when it comes to what else? Barbering, for the male clients. Of course, there are haircuts, there are facial scrubs, So it's yeah.
How's the beauty industry in Kenya so far? How would you define where it's at the moment?
Wow, Kenya has grown. I think because of the technology. And the social media, we get to learn so much about what is happening in the West world. And Kenya has grown. When it comes to beauty, Kenya actually, after South Africa, we are almost number 3. South Africa, Nigeria. Yes. So Kenya is actually on the forefront whereas beauty is concerned. If you talk about the new products, the latest products in town, the latest techniques, the latest... we're even having things like now Botox, the
intravenous...
Yes. Those injections for the skin, for your skin to look radiant. So that already is here. So when you compare ourselves, there was a time I visited Thailand, and I realized we are close to where Thailand is, whereas beauty is concerned. So many things are happening, and we are doing very well. Yes, and the market is slowly accepting the Botox, the injections, just to make your skin radiant and young and youthful. Yes.
Speaking about the Botox, the intravenous injections, and so on and so forth, I know there's the concern of safety normally. So how do you, as people in that industry, ensure that it's actually safe? Because there sometimes we see stories, whereby they go haywire, like things don't work out as they used to, and people get complications and so on and so forth. So how do you go about that safety? How to take precaution?
Okay. Of course, we have to have trained technicians, trained nurses. We no longer just employ beauty therapists. People employ nurses in their spas because you have to have someone who is trained. But of course, with the regulations, the government regulations, they cannot allow you. We have regulations for you to venture into such a business. We have regulations that we abide by to ensure that our clients are safe and the products we are using on them are safe. So we are regulated by the government. Of course, the KEBS come in, the medics come in, and they ensure that your space is safe for clients to come in. Yes, yeah, and of course, employing people who are trained and certified to undertake such therapies. Yes, yeah.
And still on that, you know, when maybe I want to pick on which place, I don't know if to call it a hospital, not really hospital, like
no, a spa is.
Yeah, where I want to go get treatment such as the Botox and so on. Like, is it possible for me to go check somewhere to know which places are regulated, which ones have certified people? Is this knowledge that is public knowledge for the people to know, okay, I'll pick this because I've seen they have certified people who do this procedures and so on and so forth?
Oh, like a body to, yeah, we recently launched a spa, can I call it a body that regulates spas?
Okay.
Yeah, in Kenya. And we are guided by their rules. So if you go on the spa, it's a spa website where you go and you'll find the spas that are regulated. And of course, we are having difficulties in boarding everyone because you understand what happens over and above the regular spas and the regular treatment spaces. So we have a body that regulates us, that was recently launched under the tourism board. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, that's a space you can go and check. Okay. Yes, yeah, check the spas that are regulated, and that are actually certified to undertake such treatments. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know. At least before someone goes to a particular spa, they need to check and ensure that it is certified. You know, and you know things won't go and backfire on them.
Important.
You know, very, very important, because when it comes to things to do with your body, you really need to be mindful about that.
Very
right?
True. And also Google. Google reviews really help people nowadays. You go on reviews and you check what spas what they're doing and how they've been doing it to the past clients and their history. Yeah, so social media has really helped us. Yeah. So at least clients make informed decision before going to any treatment spaces.
Yeah, which is very needed and important.
Yeah.
You know, does the beauty industry define beauty standards? Do you feel like it really is the bit that defines beauty standards?
At the moment, it's a struggle. It is a struggle. As I just told you, we launched a spa regulatory board that governs who we are and how we are supposed to undertake things. And I'm a member of that, not of the board, but I'm a member of that particular body. And they're struggling to onboard people. And because people are parading as spas and parading as beauty centers, but are doing other things besides. Yeah, so they're finding it a bit difficult to enroll everyone. And because the government has recently started getting involved and getting involved in that industry. So if we were fully supported by the government, then the regulations would not have people doing other businesses other than what they're supposed to do and professionally do them. Yeah, so they're still struggling. The body that particular body is struggling to enroll people and enroll spa owners and the business owners into that space. Yeah. But we'll slowly get there.
Yeah.
I always believe in growing organically, slowly, one day at a time. Yeah, people will understand the importance of coming together and having one voice and wanting to deliver to our clients what they're supposed to receive from us. Yes, and in the right way, with the right professionals.
Yeah.
Yes, and with the right products. Yeah.
All right. When you talk about beauty parlors and beauty spas, most of the times it's associated with women, you know, so being in the industry for the 11 years that you've been in, you know, do you feel like men are embracing this as well? Not just for the consumers, but okay, I can speak for myself. Like, I'm seeing so many men getting into the industry, like people who make our nails out here most of the times nowadays are men and all that. But looking at the consumer side, are they embracing the spa treatments and whatnot?
Big time. Yeah. The male clients, if I can talk about the space, if I can talk about Imora, Imora Nails and Spa, 50% of my clients, now they're 50-50. Wow. 50% of my clients are male clients. They are embracing self-care so much, because you know, the male for a long time people associated a male by, you know, you have to look rough, you have to look like, I don't know. But nowadays I see most of my clients coming in regularly without fail. In fact, the male client is the most loyal client. You can never change their minds. Once they put their minds in a certain direction, you cannot change that. Yeah. The female, a friend of yours can just tell you, oh, I have a friend here who has a spa, let's go there, and you easily go. The male client cannot change. So if you're able to tap into the male client, then you have business, continuous business, and they become so loyal. Yeah. So I've slowly grown. I started with the female. If I tell you a bit of my history, I started with the hair, and I slowly shrunk that and expanded the barber and the services that can be offered to the male client
as well.
Yes, to the men, because I came to realize they're very loyal, and they come frequently. They have a routine. If I'm having my hair cut twice a week, it's twice a week. It cannot go past that.
That's true.
If
especially with their hair.
Yes, with their hair. And taking care of that, you're able to now say, in a month I have like 50 clients who will come rain or shine, whether mandamano or not mandamano, they will find themselves at the spa. They will find themselves at the spa. So I've grown that line and ensure that they're well taken care of. Even my recent expansion was to take care of the male client. And I didn't use small amount because I realized if I take care of them, then I have continuous business over a long period of time.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
To know that they are actually the ones you're looking at, you know, more than the female client, because as you say, they're loyal clients.
Very loyal.
Okay, all right. Loyal. So maybe what are some current trends in the beauty world that have come through that are helping you out, you know, people in that industry?
Mostly at the moment, I'll speak on my about Imora and what we do. Women and men, they want to take care of their skin and they want to stay young as much as possible. So having products and having treatments that will take care of that to ensure that your skin stays youthful, you avoid wrinkles, you avoid skin discoloring of your skin or hyperpigmentation or cellulites. So if you're able to take care of the cellulites, you're able to take care of the wrinkles, you're able to take care of them aging. Let me not say them because it's us aging. And aging very fast. Yeah, and of course how you take care of your skin also matters, you know. Yeah, and us staying youthful for a long time, and you looking beautiful every day when you wake up. You know, I always say you wake up like this, like you take care of your eyebrows. Your eyebrows are forever shaped. You know, your lips are, we have even lips that, you know, we inject some coloring into your lips. So you have permanent lipsticks, you can have permanent eyeshadows, you can have permanent eyebrows.
Permanent eyeshadows?
Yes.
I've not heard of that.
There's that. Permanent eyeliner.
Yeah.
Permanent lipstick and the eyebrows, and you just wake up. And because also life has become too, you know, people don't have so much time to do that. So if they can come and do that at once and it's taken care of, then, you know, then somebody feels great about themselves. So the permanent lipsticks and the eyeliners and the eyebrows and the skin have grown. People have embraced that so much because we don't have time to wake up in the morning and start balancing, you know, and making sure that your eyebrows are not close cousins. They're close cousins. Not even
in a long distance relationship.
Yes, at least they're close cousins. Yes, so just ensuring that that is taken care of, then you have a good client. Yes. Yeah.
You know, speaking about that, it has just come to mind that when it comes to makeup, we've seen criticism a lot on it. You know, some will say, why don't you just stay natural? I mean, is it that you have some inferiority complex? You don't love yourself much? You know, why do you need to put all these things onto your face? You're now doing like permanent eyebrows, you're doing permanent lipstick. What would you say about that?
What I normally joke about my clients, especially somebody comes with bad nails and they're like, I want to keep my nails natural. And I'm like, okay, and then what? Is there a medal in heaven for you to have your nails natural?
I feel attacked.
But
mine are natural.
They're natural, but you have polished them nicely. They're beautiful. Yes. Natural, I mean now you don't polish. Yes, you don't do anything about it. And for your face, are you a forest? No. For you to stay natural. These things come not to change. Are you a forest? These things come not to change who you are, but to enhance. Just to enhance, you know, like your eyes, you know, to make them look brighter and more defined, you know. Your lips to make them look, you know, more defined and look a bit organized, you know. And just, so I encourage, these things came to enhance what we already have. They're not there to make you feel like you're suffering from inferiority complex, or you have low self-esteem, so you want to hide it behind makeup. No. I just want to look radiant. I want to stand before people and talk about my business confidently, without me wondering if you're listening to me or you're looking at my twins who are not matching, you know? And that enables you to achieve, at the end of the day, what you want to achieve, you know? Because for me, if my nails look bad, trust you me, I wouldn't even have come. Because my confidence just goes down. And that means if I was talking to you and you're looking at my nails, even all the ideas I have in my mind will disappear, because I think now you're concentrating on my nails and not what I'm saying. And just imagine if that was happening and you're pitching to a group of people or a group of investors who are coming to invest in your business, or a company where you're supposed to get a big job, and then you lose it because of that. So these beauty treatments come to enhance and just to elevate you to another level where you're able to confidently be yourself and prove yourself and be a better version of yourself. Nothing less. It's not about inferiority complex. It's not about self-esteem. It's not about what people think about you. It's what you think about yourself and what you can deliver at the end of the day, because we all have purposes. And are you able to achieve that purpose at the end of the day? Yeah. So I encourage women to take care of themselves, to look great and to feel great about themselves. Every day. Yes.
Okay. How has social media influenced the beauty industry, or how is it influencing the beauty industry right now?
Personally, I use social media a lot. Because I came to realize in business, I cannot rely on Vivian to come in every day. I want to reach other people. And okay, social media has both influenced in terms of you getting to learn new techniques or new ideas or the new trends that are coming into the country, and also helped us get footfall into our businesses. So social media is a great space to put your business out there and to reach the people. Like, I'm in Hurlingham and I reach people all the way in Mombasa. And they ask about us. If one day I want to go to Mombasa, I will not start from scratch. Somebody will have known about Imora Nails and Spa. And so it has helped our business grow exponentially without so much struggle, without walking from one door to the other or doing flyers on the roads, or, you know. So it has eased up things a little bit. And also just learning new things, because you wake up today, there's something, your client comes in, oh, niliona hii, and you're like, oh God, uliona, you know, we have to, here is the video, and there's everything. So it's a learning platform. It's an educational platform that has helped the beauty industry a lot, yes.
All right. On that note, we take a short break. Don't you go too far. We'll be back to continue with this conversation.
I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
Wagwan, me brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth way the vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
Alafu kila Tuesday, kata simu tupo side, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She says she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday with me, DJ_Liza Diva,
DJ Cold,
and me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
KBC Channel 1. We are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who is the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevatishwa.
Hii sio wakati tulikuwa tunapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow.
The
Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
And we are back. In case you're just joining us, we are talking about the beauty industry, and with me in studio is a beauty guru by the name Edwina Achieng. Now Edwina, I'd love to know what it takes for one to thrive in this industry, maybe for someone who's watching us and has been having the thoughts of getting into the beauty world industry, you know, and start making their money from there. What does it take for one to thrive in it?
Okay. I always tell myself that for you to venture into anything, please have an idea of what you're venturing into. Understand, do a lot of visibility study, and know how you're going to get clientele. And what position are you placing yourself? Yeah? How are you placing yourself into the industry, whatever industry you're venturing into? So, number one, understand yourself as an individual, because knowing yourself and understanding yourself makes a huge difference once you start doing the business itself. And then know your client base. Know who you're targeting. Who am I targeting? Am I targeting the lower class? Am I targeting the mid class? Am I targeting the upper class? And know your location very well. Understand your location. Go and visit the area. Who are those who are living in that area? What do they need? What are their needs? You know? Understand their needs and know where to position yourself. Yeah? So once you get to understand all that, the location, your personality as a person, yourself, and your client base, and I've talked about the location, yes. Then you're able to now venture into that business. I discourage people to venture into business because they have money to do it. Because you will lose a lot of money in the long run. And then don't create supply and go looking for demand. Create demand. Make sure that you have demand, then avail supply. Okay? If I'm a beauty therapist, because now I want to, after the breakup with my partner, I decided to come into this industry differently. When I started first, I started as an entrepreneur. I brought the money and availed supply. And what did that do to us? The business could not sustain itself. And hence my reason for going back to school, to understand what I want and how I'm going to handle things moving forward. As a beauty therapist, I'm able to know what Vivian needs without interference of the people that I'm going to employ. Okay? I am able to influence the kind of therapist I'm going to have around me because I understand what I'm doing. So, creating, after that, I started as a beauty therapist. What was I doing during that time? Employed in somebody's salon. I'm talking after the breakup. I went and got employed into somebody's salon. What was I doing? I was understanding the client. I was understanding what I want to do with these clients and creating demand. By the time I was venturing into Imora, I already had demand. I already had clientele. Okay? So I had a client to start with. So by the time I was employing, I was getting people to work with me, they had people to come and work on because I'd already created demand. So don't start with the supply. Don't go take money and open this beautiful spa. And when people come in, there's no one to serve them. Or you have a beautiful spa, you have employees, and the employees that you have don't even understand why they are there and what are they expected to do. Yeah. So those are the things you look at first. Before looking at the money that you have, just understand that you need to have demand first and then create supply.
Okay.
Don't do the other way around.
Don't do it the other way around.
Yes.
All right. So now, I'm trying to still ask questions for the person who maybe would love to venture into this business.
Yes.
What part of the business right now, or what part of the sector, that's the beauty industry, do you feel has potential for growth? And where is there a gap that they may maybe jump onto?
The skin treatments. Just the skin therapies, the skin treatments. There's still the skin treatments and the body therapies. The body therapies. When it comes to hair, why I don't go big on ladies' hair? My hairdresser can leave my office and go work on you at home.
Yeah, that's true.
My nail technician can leave my office and can leave the spa and go take care of you at home without me knowing. But the machines that I have and the skin treatments, the machines that we use to do the skin treatments cannot be done elsewhere other than in the spa. And also, so if you are someone who wants to venture into this business, go and learn about skin treatment therapies. Women and men need to stay youthful. Then you're in the right track.
Okay.
That one I can say for free. There's still gap, there's still need, and there's always a client for everyone. In that space.
They say the cake is always big enough.
The cake is always big enough. Don't fight.
The ocean is big enough for the, you know, for the ship to all sail. The boats, right?
Yes.
Now, when it comes to consumer trust, just how important is that, and how do you build that trust? Because these are your clientele, you know. How do you build that consumer trust?
Yes, this is something that I've tried, and that is to do with my employees. Consumer trust starts with a happy employee. If your employee is not happy, and if your employee is not fulfilled and enjoying what they do, then definitely you're not going to get loyal clients. Because I rely on the people that I work with to ensure that customer loyalty is maintained. Getting a client is not difficult, but retaining that client is the most difficult thing. So over the years, I've come to realize the client loyalty does not lie with me as Edwina. It lies with the people that I work with. That is the industry we are in. So how do I ensure that this person that I'm working with is empowered in such a way that when she speaks the language that Edwina speaks. She buys into the vision that Edwina has. She understands the importance of client retention, not to me, but to herself. So I've done a lot of customer care training because hair can be done anywhere, nails can be done anywhere, but customer experience still remains key. What is your experience when you come in? And experience, does it lie with Edwina? Edwina will not be there. It lies with who? This person that takes care of you. So ensuring that the person who is taking care of the employee, of the client is taken care of, then you can sit back and relax and watch things unfolding in front of you. Yes.
All right. Now, as we almost come to a close, as I'm looking at my time, we're almost running out of time. You know, every industry has its challenges. Maybe what are some challenges that the beauty industry is facing at the moment, if we narrow it down to just Kenya?
To Kenya. Number one is the regulation. are not fully regulated. We are not fully supported by the government so that we are able to agree as a unit of the beauty industry and come up. You see that like those like doctors have their body, pharmacists have their body that regulates them, accountants have that. Yes, journalists, you have your body that regulates. For you to be a journalist, there's something that you have to do. So if we had that, then would of course go into the, do very well, you know, because now we're having counterfeit products, we're having things just coming into the industry that people don't understand. We have people bringing in activities that are not lawfully allowed into the spa industry, but they're doing them. So the regulations. And also, we are being fought by counterfeit. You bring a genuine product, 2 months later you go to, okay, let me just say town center, and you find 1 million of them, and you're like, wow, at quarter the price that you're charging. And so the counterfeit products, those are the challenges we're having. And then employee retention, employee loyalty, you know. You wake up one day, my reason for going back to school was because of that, was driven by that mostly. You wake up one day and you have no employees. They've tortured themselves and left. Then what do you do? Yeah. So it's the regulations, the counterfeit products, and then the employee retention.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. You can finish off by giving us some beauty secrets that you feel we should know about.
First, just love yourself and be happy. Try and be happy. Try and just love yourself and take care of yourself first. I listen to Oprah Winfrey a lot, and she says that you cannot give that which you don't have. You only give once your cup is overflowing. So when you love yourself, then you'll just stay beautiful and young. Yeah? And do skin routines, exercise, visit the spa. Let us take care of your body, of your massages, of your facials, of your nails. And once you do that, then you'll stay a youthful and a good person to the society. Yeah.
I love that you started with love yourself, because it comes from within first.
Exactly.
You know, you can do a lot on the outside, but if you don't, you know, work on your inside, then well, it might be a flop. One last question. There's the issue of sunscreen. Most of the times people say that, you know, for Africans, we don't really need sunscreen. We have our melanin, God-given, you know, melanin and so on and so forth. Do you feel like sunscreen is an essential part of one's skincare routine that one should have on a daily?
Sunscreen is the most important thing anyone should have, whether you have melanin like from here to Timbuktu or you're white, you know. You need to wear sunscreen underneath your makeup. Yeah, it is important because we all get we all get burnt. Yeah, so before you do your makeup, please apply sunscreen, because the radiation from the sun is so harsh. So you find that clients come in with flared skin or completely burnt, you know, and you're like, okay, now what happens? And that takes time, because it's a process, because the skin consists of so many layers, and sometimes the problem goes through to the other layers of the skin. So we need, as a routine, take
for
care
both male and female.
For both male and female, please wear sunscreen and wear day moisturizers. It's important to wear day moisturizers. It's important to have skincare routines in the evening after, you know, after your day. Do a cleanser, do a cleanser, and do a toner, and do a night cream. So for a lady, let me talk about the women. For the basic things that you need to have is a cleanser, a toner at home, a cleanser, a toner, and a night cream and a day cream and a sunscreen.
Okay.
A woman should not lack those, and even the male clients, but I advocate for women so much.
Okay.
You need to take care of yourself.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Edwina, for
Yes.
joining us on this conversation and for shedding light on the beauty industry.
Thank you so much.
All right, this is where we call it a wrap right here on Good Morning Kenya. On behalf of everyone who has made this show a success, we wish you a lovely day. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. We do this again, same time, same place tomorrow, God willing.
Safaricom, proud sponsor of Team Kenya at the Olympics.
Just had that ability, that power, and also two magnificent middle blockers, Carol and Thaisa, who finished with 11 points. In her fourth Olympic Games, just up and hands reaching over.
A dramatic touch, a 50-second penalty for moving the gate. Funk fell away from first. The medals were decided. Australia's Jessica Fox claimed the medal that had been missing from her collection.
And it comes from Puteas. Natasi has misjudged it.
Safaricom, proud sponsor of Team Kenya at the Olympics. On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who is the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevakishwa. Hii zile wakati tulikuwa tunapishwa tukapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Although developers are experimenting with search features that include current events, they're only available to paid subscribers. And don't forget, every answer provided by ChatGPT needs to be fact-checked. And students especially should take note. Universities are currently debating if and how AI tools like ChatGPT should be used in the future, and how that might change our understanding of authorship. Completely banning AI tools is probably not going to work, though.
The best solution is not to ban AI technologies, but instead to determine with students the most effective methods to create high-quality texts. And that doesn't simply mean letting AI write the text. Instead, students could work with the AI to develop several iterations of a text and then flesh out their own arguments with the help of this AI tool.
Artificial intelligence is basically like a giant toolbox.
If you know how the tools work and which to use to fix a specific problem, it can be really useful. At Deutsche Welle, we do not currently publish any journalistic work produced from generative AI, but DW is looking for ways to responsibly harness the potential of so-called large language models.